Zhuo Fan has survived the first wave of betrayal, but survival is only the beginning. The servant everyone tried to crush is starting to reveal the mind of a demonic emperor, and every faction that reaches for him may discover they are grabbing a blade. If you like ruthless, weak-to-strong cultivation stories, subscribe now, because this rise from humiliation to domination is only getting more dangerous. In the Demonic Emperor Part 2, Zhuo Fan pushes from desperate survival into control. Long Zhu appears, the Veiled Dragon Pavilion takes notice, and the Luo clan's enemies begin to realize that the quiet steward standing before them may be the most dangerous piece on the board. Novel whoosh, with a sudden boom, a figure appeared before the two. It was Long Zhu. His eyes were filled with excitement. Who set up the array just now? It's. The two looked long at each other before Long Zai replied, Luo clan steward Zhuo Fan. What him? Long Zhu turned to the array, and the more he examined it, the more shocked he got. An array master needs to know each array as the back of his hand and pours years and years into understanding heaven and earth. At my age, I can only set up third-grade arrays, so how can a pup set up a fifth-grade array so quickly? Long Zhu seemed to be asking Long Kui and Long Zai, but it also seemed to be asking himself. The two only shook their heads. It was unknown what kind of man Zhuo Fan was, as he kept doing extraordinary and shocking things again and again. Even the two of them, born in a powerful clan, no longer dared to underestimate Zhuo Fan. They even felt inferior. Go and call the kid over. No, invite him. I want to speak to him. Taking a look around, Long Zhu grinned. The two cupped their hands and followed his order. Soon, in a pavilion in the garden behind the courtyard, Long Zhu served tea at a stone table. It didn't take long before Zhuo Fan came in, followed by Long Zai and Long Kui. Ha ha ha, brother Zhuo Fan, sit. Long Zhu laughed as he invited him. Long Zai and Long Kui were shocked. Brother Zhuo Fan? Long Zhu had a high position in the clan, as such the two of them called him uncle. Yet a proud man like Long Zhu only respected a handful of people in the Tianyu Empire, but to call this kid brother left the two stumped. Zhuo Fan took it in stride, however, sitting without hesitation. In his eyes, this was a world where the strong were respected. With enough strength, even this old man's grandpa would call him brother. Why has bro Zhu called for me? Zhuo Fan wasn't a stickler for rules and poured himself some tea. He didn't seem to know the meaning of shame as he called Long Zhu bro without so much as a blush. Long Kui couldn't even react. Long Zai rolled his eyes, cursing him for being shameless and taking advantage of circumstances. But Long Zhu was overjoyed. Their relationship was now tighter, and that was a good thing for him. Brother Zhuo Fan, since you called me bro Zhu, I won't mince words. I'll be honest with you, brother. For a fifth-grade array master to stay in a fallen clan like the Luo clan is a sin. It's best if you join the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. We will even treat you as a venerable. Even the clan head will have to show you respect. Long Kui and Long Zai never imagined Long Zhu wanted to invite Zhuo Fan as Veiled Dragon Pavilion's venerable. That was the highest status in the Veiled Dragon Pavilion, even higher than an elder. How could a kid, still wet behind his ears, receive such honor? Then again, Zhuo Fan was a fifth-grade array master only in the qi condensation stage. Any of the 7 houses would invite such a person to be a venerable. Asking him to join the Veiled Dragon Pavilion was for the clan's future. Zhuo Fan sipped tea with a smile. He knew of Long Zhu's intention even before he came. Who wouldn't fight and seize a fifth-grade array master in such an empire? Even the emperor would have to show him courtesy. He foresaw this even as he set up the array. Brother Zhuo Fan, what do you say? Long Zhu asked again. Zhuo Fan grinned. I have one condition. If it's in Veiled Dragon Pavilion's power, you can ask for anything. Long Zhu expressed his consent. Even making her serve me tea, rub my feet, and warm my bed. Zhuo Fan pointed at Long Kui. Long Kui's cheeks flared red with anger. Keep dreaming. Long Zhu had to shake his head in embarrassment. It's impossible with little Kui. Ha ha ha, it's just a joke. I already have a young miss, so why would I look for another? Zhuo Fan's eyes were radiant as he turned serious. I want the Luo siblings, forever safe. Zhuo Fan paused after each word. Long Zhu showed his admiration. He never expected for Zhuo Fan's condition to be just this. Such devotion inspired respect from the 3 around him. Even the always angry Long Kui looked at him longer. I agree. As long as the Veiled Dragon Pavilion exists, the Luo clan, not only this generation but its descendants, will also live in peace. Smiling, Zhuo Fan sipped his tea again. Then from now on, you are Veiled Dragon Pavilion's venerable. I will report it to the clan, and 3 days later, I will ask Ajai to escort you to the clan estate. Wait, Zhuo Fan raised his hand. I didn't agree. What? But just now, Long Zhu stood in panic, then glared at Zhuo Fan. Brother Zhu, were you messing around? Zhuo Fan turned serious. If it were 15 minutes ago, I would have agreed without hesitation. But now, what about now? Long Jiu's beard trembled. Shaking his head, Zhuo Fan let out a mysterious smile as his voice turned cold. Young Miss Long Kui, do you remember what you said? Zhuo Fan extended his fist. Within 10 years, I will make the Luo clan stand above the 7 houses. He downed the tea in one gulp and smacked the cup on the table as he left. Long Kui had a strange feeling watching his back. It was impossible for a small clan to rise above the 7 noble houses in 10 years, even if he was a 5th-grade array master. The 7 noble houses' reserves weren't something he alone could overcome, but Zhuo Fan's confidence left her without retort. Little Kui, what did you say? Long Jiu turned to the two. From Zhuo Fan's expression, he knew Zhuo Fan was not lying, so something must have happened earlier. Long Kui only stared at Zhuo Fan's back as Long Jai spoke after hesitating. Long Jiu shook his head after hearing the story. I've said already not to insult people and cut at their shortcomings. You've insulted the Luo clan and they are sure to not take it lying down. But what he said can't be achieved, Long Jai muttered. Long Jiu stroked his beard. Luo clan has a 5th-grade array master. Even if it won't rise above the 7 houses, it will still be well known in the land. It's best to get closer to it. We were so close to having him as venerable. Long Jiu sighed as he fixed his eye on Long Kui. Regarding Zhuo Fan, he went to Luo Yuncheng, his mind going a mile a minute. He could have completely put his heart demon to rest, but chose not to because of Long Kui's words. Pipe dream. If we can't even dream, our only choice is to leave it up to fate. Demonic cultivators walked in defiance of heaven, fighting for their own fates. Zhuo Fan thus hated when someone told him that any goals he had was a pipe dream, that he should feel grateful for his fate. He had to prove to everyone that even a fallen clan could reach the top one day. He no longer helped the Luo clan just for the sake of his heart demon, but also for his path as a demonic cultivator. Nothing in this world is impossible. If heaven stands in my way, I will kill it. My fate is my own and not heaven's. The day shall come when he would rebuild this ruined clan to the best the world had ever seen. As long as demonic Emperor Zhu Yifan was here, nothing was impossible. Bam. Zhuo Fan slammed the door open full of anger. Luo Yunhai, Luo Yuncheng, and Captain Pang were startled. Luo Yuncheng hesitated before building up the courage to speak to him. Zhuo Fan, what did Grandfather Zhu want? He invited me to join Veiled Dragon Pavilion. The three's faces saddened. Despite being downhearted inside, Luo Yuncheng strained a smile. Congratulations, Veiled Dragon Pavilion will offer you a far more glorious future than Luo clan. She had a guess Zhuo Fan's talent as a 5th-grade array master would attract the 7 houses' invitation. The Luo clan would find it impossible to hold on to such a man. Zhuo Fan snorted. What are you sad about? I declined. What? Shock was seen, but happiness was the most obvious emotion. Why? Just because I'll be in my room. Zhuo Fan left without answering. But just before he was gone, he said coldly, Young miss, don't interfere in any future matters of the Luo clan, be it big or small. Luo Yuncheng nodded absent-minded. Wasn't it like this so far? Why did he bring this up? Zhuo Fan then seemed to talk to her, but also to himself. From now on, I am Luo clan's steward. In 10 years, I will raise the Luo clan above the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. His figure left with the last word, leaving the three in shock. For the next 10-odd days, there was not a shadow of Zhuo Fan gracing the small courtyard in the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Not only Long Kui, not even Luo clan's members saw him. After his bold words that day, Zhuo Fan worked harder on cultivation, locked up in his room. He only let Blood Infant roam free at night to gather Yuan Qi, his target, the Kai clan. As such, clan head Kai was dejected all this time. His guards shrank in numbers with each passing day, without so much as a trace left behind. This left him wondering if the Luo clan he offended asked Veiled Dragon Pavilion to deal with his clan. In his opinion, only the 7 noble houses had such dreadful power to reap his guards without notice. As such, Kai Rong's heart grew heavier, to the point his son balled up under his blanket, shivering at night. Afraid he would be next. To the living, it wasn't death that was scary, but the wait before. Father and son felt the crawling of time and the agony of fear. He also thought of seeking Hell Valley's help. But ever since it got his family martial art, it cut off all ties. This only went to further prolong Kai Rong's agony as he shouted out his frustration one day in his room. No demonic cultivator was trustworthy, but he was in too deep to turn back now. Zhuo Fan took them all in stride with a sneer. As for the Sun clan, he let the Blood Infant pay them a few visits too. However, Elder Jian was there, so there were many close calls to getting caught. And as of late, many great powers have been present there, so Zhuo Fan avoided entering. He only left Blood Infant to monitor at the gates. On this day, as per usual, the Blood Infant ate a dozen Kai clan guards, then staked Kai clan's gates for a bit before returning to the little courtyard, pleased. Just as he was about to enter his home, a trace of energy caught his eye. Zhuo Fan frowned in his room as the blood infant hid its energy. Soon, in a corner across from the little courtyard, a shadow was reflected in his eyes. That person was watching his home. Humph, no one dares to step inside Veiled Dragon Pavilion's territory, yet this one does. He must be from Blackwind Mountain. Zhuo Fan grinned. He recalled Elder Giant telling it wasn't the Kai clan nor the Sun clan who'd come after the Luo clan, but a third party unrelated to them, Blackwind Mountain. If the Luo clan fell, Hell Valley was spared of all liability. But how were a bunch of bandits going to enter the little courtyard? You think this is the Cloud Manor? Raising an eyebrow, Zhuo Fan guided the blood infant after the person in black. Because blood infant's hidden energy, it wasn't found out. After taking stock of the surrounding, the bandit left, followed by a red trace. An hour later, the person jumped through a window of a tavern and the blood infant floated to peer inside. Zhuo Fan saw 7 strong men and a 17-year-old girl to the side. They were all waiting for the person in black to speak. "Young miss, how's the situation?" Before the person in black spoke, the girl poured tea and spoke with concern. Zhuo Fan was taken aback. A woman? He never expected the leader of the Blackwind Mountain bandits to be a woman. Were they looking down on the fact that the Luo clan had only 4 members? Zhuo Fan shook his head. He saw the person in black remove her veil to reveal a pair of bright eyes, black hair flowing down to her waist, with fair and unblemished skin worthy of the title beauty. Even the men couldn't help but swallow dryly and stare. But the woman's glare made them lower their heads. "Zio Kui, get me a pen and paper." Being shouted to, the girl rushed to obey. The beauty drew in detail for 15 minutes. The contents shocked Zhuo Fan. That was Veiled Dragon Pavilion's little courtyard in minute detail. He had to admit, making such a map after one night of staking earned a thumbs up from him. She wasn't the leader for nothing. Look closely. Here, and here are guards. The 4 corners here have bone tempering experts. "Young miss, this is Veiled Dragon Pavilion. How do we proceed? By the look of things, we'll be dead before we even make it through the door." One man wiped his sweat from fear. The woman dismissed him. "Relax, senior brother got in contact with Hell Valley's men and said they will distract the guards. We just need to capture Luo Yuncheng and kill the rest." "What? She isn't a man, so why capture young miss for?" Zhuo Fan was baffled but not worried. Even without the guards, he still had the 9 heavens coiling dragon array. They were ants throwing their lives away. But what caught his attention was that Blackwind Mountain and Hell Valley were connected. They were being exploited just like the Kai clan, but on a much deeper level. Young miss, there's something you might not like to hear, but it concerns our lives." "Say it." Waving her hand, the girl spoke calmly. The man hesitated before firming his resolve. "Young miss, the young lord and Hell Valley are connected and will listen to him. Even if Hell Valley's men help us, the Veiled Dragon Pavilion is still one of the 7 noble houses. Offending them will leave us with no place to hide. Will the Hell Valley shelter us then? If they abandon us instead, death will be our only outcome." "Humph, that's like saying you're scared of dying. Don't you think you're letting down Mountain Lord with your words? For helping Camp Lord recover for his revenge, the least we can do is stake our lives." Her words brought shame on their faces. She glared at them and shouted, "Withdraw. Follow the predetermined plan without fail." Yes, they cupped their hands and shouted with respect. When they left, they were resolute with staring death in the face. "Not bad." Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow as he left the room. Now it was his turn. When all the people left, the girl clapped her hands in glee. "Young miss is amazing, like a true mountain lord." Shaking her head, the woman sighed. "If Godfather was back to health, he'd do it far better." No one on Blackwind Mountain would have doubted him, nor questioned his orders. Maybe, but they still believe in young miss. The woman shook her head. "Zio Kui, don't comfort me. I only hope to cure my adoptive father once we get the returning dragon palm. Young miss will succeed in her filial duty." The girl giggled. However, it was now that a faint sigh reached them. Girl, filial and success are different things. Moreover, who told you the returning dragon palm can heal wounds? Who's there? The woman and the girl turned to find Zhuo Fan sitting on the window frame with a smile. "No need to panic. I have no ill intent. I just came to chat and clear some things up." Zhuo Fan made a friendly gesture. "Who exactly are you?" The woman drew Zio Kui 2 steps behind her. She didn't realize Zhuo Fan was spying on them. If he wanted her life, she'd be dead by now. "Oh, I haven't introduced myself." Zhuo Fan bowed. "I am Luo Clan's steward, Zhuo Fan." "What, the Luo clan?" The woman's eyes squinted and gnashed her teeth, then die. She stabbed with 2 fingers. Piercing lightning danced between her fingers as if it wanted to shatter the skies. Zhuo Fan was a bit startled. 9th layer of chi condensation, spirit-ranked martial art. He'd never expected for the last to be so strong and even wield a spirit-ranked martial art to boot. Her power was close to a bone-tempering cultivator. Unfortunately, she met Zhuo Fan. He mocked all those below bone tempering. Because he had the blood infant, with a hand sign, a red light flashed from his body into the woman. Her body froze, yet the lighting still buzzed between her fingers. She was afraid. What did you do to me? Grinning, Zhuo Fan shook his head. Nothing, I am only controlling your body. And then grabbed her 2 fingers. Cancel. In an instant, the piercing lightning died out. Blood infant was born of blood and controlled blood. This in turn led to the control of the whole body. Only strong cultivation and yuan qi could repel such restrictions. But this was because the blood infant was still weak. If it was in the saint stage, even an emperor would find it hard to deal with. Come with me. Zhuo Fan hugged her waist. She could do nothing but let the strange man embrace her as they went. Young miss, Zio Kui shouted. Zhuo Fan turned and thought of something. Oh, forgot about you. His hand grabbed her shoulder and the last blanked out. Zio Kui was just a servant that had yet to enter qi condensation. Thus, as the first rays of dawn graced the earth, Zhuo Fan walked to his home, embracing 1 girl and 1 woman. Novel whoosh, as dawn approached, Zhuo Fan carried a pretty girl in each hand to his courtyard. The guards were taken aback seeing this steward locked up for 10 odd days, only to follow up with a knowing smile. One even teased Steward Zhu, last night must have been exhausting for you. Long Kui happened to pass by and saw him with 2 beauties. She frowned and rolled her eyes as she walked away with large steps. She ignored him while her mouth kept criticizing, men are all the same. Zhuo Fan didn't care that they misunderstood and threw the 2 in his room. He closed the door and sat on a chair. Ao Zio Kui recovered from hitting the ground and rubbed her eyes. Where is this? But shouted when her eyes landed on the other woman. Young miss, are you all right? The woman laid motionless on the floor, presenting her delectable assets to Zhuo Fan to see. Smiling, Zhuo Fan moved his finger and she regained her freedom. The woman rose in a flash and reached for her ankle. Her hand now had a dagger that rushed at Zhuo's neck. Yet only a groan came as the dagger stopped an inch from his throat as she froze in place. Zhuo Fan admired her with a sneer. Nice skills, but that won't work on me. I only invited you over to clarify some things. If you are honest, I will let you go. Also, it's best if you don't bare your fangs at me again. Zhuo Fan took the dagger from her hand, then spared a second glance to her shapely body. Oh, we'd have to make sure you have nothing else hiding on you. Zhuo Fan adopted the frisking posture. The woman turned beet red. You dare? His hand stopped as Zhuo Fan looked into her eyes. Whether I dare or not depends on you. Then his tone turned grave. Who are you? What are you doing in Wingay City? The woman ignored him. Whoosh, Zhuo Fan ripped a part of her clothing wrapped around her waist and threw it to the ground. Ah, with a shriek the woman's anger exploded. Her eyes seemed to spew fire, yet Zhuo Fan couldn't care less. Zio Kui rushed over and smacked Zhuo Fan with her tender fists. Bastard, how dare you do that to young miss? Zhuo Fan's other hand moved with ease, and some of Zio Kui's clothing fell on the floor. She was stunned for a second before shooting back and holding her clothes tighter with tears swelling in her eyes. Zhuo Fan was nonplussed, asking in the same calm voice, Who are you? What are you doing in Wingay City? Gnashing her teeth, the woman bit her lips in answer. Her clothing was torn to shreds before as Zhuo Fan repeated with coldness, Who are you? What are you doing in Wingay City? Zhuo Fan's cruelty was akin to a heartless machine that brought fear to the woman's heart. She finally relaxed her clenched jaw. I am Blackwind Mountain Lord's goddaughter, Lei Yuding. I have come to Wingay City to end the Luo clan. Why? Zhuo Fan's face was unfeeling as if it had nothing to do with him. This only worked to stoke Lei Yuding's fear. This man didn't look human in her eyes. Hell Valley will distract the guards while we sneak in. Zhuo Fan nodded satisfied. He knew this beforehand and asked this to shred her heart's defenses. The next question was something he wanted to know the most. What's your connection with Hell Valley? What do they get by helping you? Lei Yuding was at a loss too. I don't know. Zhuo Fan kept his eyes on her, and when he found her answer truthful, how are you in contact with Hell Valley? Who mediates? Lei Yuding's eyes shook, but her lips pursed. Zhuo Fan had a guess, but he wanted to hear it from her, so he ripped Lei Yuding's shirt. Her body was exposed to Zhuo Fan's eyes in an instant, leaving only a red lace cloth to protect her final vestige of modesty. Lei Yuding's tears dropped without a sound. Zhuo Fan's hand closed in on the red cloth as his voice dropped even lower. This is your last chance to maintain your honor. If you don't answer, there are more than a dozen craving men outside beside me. Bastard, Lei Yuding hissed. I'll count to 3, 1, 2. The higher he got, the closer his hand was to the red cloth. Lei Yuding's bit her lips, close to drawing blood while crying, yet no word came out. You're quite brave. Zhuo Fan nodded and was about to pull when Zio Kui shouted in panic, Don't. I beg you, don't bully young miss. It's senior brother Yang who's in contact with Hell Valley. Who is he? Zhuo Fan's curled up an evil smile. Lei Yuding wanted to shout for Zio Kui to stop, but Zhuo Fan's robbed her voice. Zhao Qi saw young Miss suffering and spoke truthfully. He is Mountain Lord's disciple, Yang Ming. The Mountain Lord formed a marriage contract between senior brother Yang and young Miss. But one day, Luo's clan head, Luo Zhenin, caught him off guard and wounded him heavily. He lays paralyzed, unable to even speak. So you thought of catching the Luo clan off guard. Zhuo Fan grinned, killers must pay and revenge must be dealt, right? And then, Zhao Qi hesitated, but then she saw Zhuo Fan's hand drawing near Lei Yuding's chest. We were at a loss in the face of Luo clan's tight guard, but then senior brother made a pact with steward son. He worked with us from the inside and defeated the Luo clan. Then Luo clan's young miss ran away and we lost track of her. It was also then when senior brother Yang found out you were all here and asked Hell Valley's help. Good. Zhuo Fan's hand remained still. How did you know Mountain Lord was sneak attacked by Luo Zhenin? Did you see it? Senior brother Yang did. Did your senior brother Yang also tell you returning dragon palm can heal him? Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow as he asked Zhao Qi, who nodded. She was amazed he got it right. With a clear picture, Zhuo Fan withdrew his hand from Lei Yuding's chest. However, a light voice came from outside. Zhuo Fan, are you there? Luo Yunqing went inside with Luo Yunhai and Captain Peng. The image rooted them in place. An extra two beauties with messed up clothing were inside, with Zhuo Fan's nefarious hand in front of one's chest. Luo Yunhai was slack-jawed, yet his eyes roamed like lightning. Covering her brother's eyes, Luo Yunqing shouted at Captain Peng, "Get young master out." Captain Peng nodded as he carried Luo Yunhai outside, but not before he threw Zhuo Fan a vulgar smile any man would understand. Steward Zhuo, Luo Yunqing raged, "This is Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Why are you making trouble?" Shrugging, Zhuo Fan said, "Everything I do is for Luo clan's sake." For Luo clan, Luo Yunqing laughed from anger. "You bring two flosses to mess around with and you say it's for Luo clan. Didn't you say you were getting stronger? Didn't you say you'll raise the Luo clan above the 7 houses in 10 years? Is this how you do it?" Zhuo Fan was stunned. Luo Yunqing carried herself with dignity and virtue at all times, even when angry. Why did she snap today so bad that she lost all composure? Shaking his head, Zhuo Fan said, "If you knew who they were, you wouldn't be saying that." Luo Yunqing was skeptical. "They are from Blackwind Mountain and I was interrogating them." Zhuo Fan sneered at the two girls with messed up clothing. "This method is the most effective against women, even in the case of bandits." "What? They're from Blackwind Mountain?" Luo Yunqing's eyes went bloodshot as she used her yuan qi to punch Lei Yuding. "Give me back my father." Zhuo Fan caught her soft hand. "Calm down. I believe Blackwind Mountain and the Luo clan's grievances are connected. The 7 noble houses were probably behind it all." "What?" Not only Luo Yunqing, even Lei Yuding and Zhao Qi were stunned. Both the Luo clan and Blackwind Mountain were mere ants to the 7 noble houses. Why go to such lengths to hide their intention when they could deal with them with a snap of their fingers? Zhuo Fan didn't figure it out yet, but he still let go of Lei Yuding. "Young Miss Lei, I have a presumptuous favor to ask of you." Zhuo Fan bowed. "I want you to take me to Blackwind Mountain. I want to get to the bottom of this." "Humph, there's no way you can enter Blackwind Mountain," Lei Yuding snorted. Zhuo Fan smiled at Luo Yunqing. "Young miss, please take out the returning dragon palm." "Why?" Luo Yunqing took it out anyway. If others asked for it, she wouldn't have been so quick to respond. But since Zhuo Fan was a 5th grade array master, he wouldn't covet a mere spirit-ranked martial art. Zhuo Fan smiled. "Young Miss Lei, this is the returning dragon palm you wanted. But this is a martial art. It is unable to heal Mountain Lord's wound. I can only ask for you to take me to Blackwind Mountain to investigate. The chance is Yang Ming had always lied to you. We need to make matters clear, otherwise Luo clan and Blackwind Mountain will be crushed by the 7 houses. Senior brother Yang is a good man, not a liar," Zhao Qi said. Zhuo Fan only looked at Lei Yuding. How could Yang Ming make Luo clan's steward defect after decades under Luo clan and also be in constant contact with Hell Valley? "Lei Yuding, do you even know your fiancé?" Zhuo Fan's words struck a chord inside Lei Yuding and doubt sprouted. Tracing returning dragon palm's jade slip with her hand, she nodded. Since they gave her the martial art, one passed down through generations, even she found something amiss and agreed. Moreover, Blackwind Mountain was her home and Zhuo Fan was but one man. No trick of his would work there. Zhuo Fan was pleased, but he cleared his voice in embarrassment the next second. "Miss Lei, be careful not to catch a cold." Ah, only now did she react to the vile steward ripping her clothes and could only use her hands for cover. Luo Yunqing and Zhao Qi shoved Zhuo Fan out the door. Scram! The door slammed behind him as the 3 girls exchanged a smile, but then it dawned on them how complicated the matter got. They were still enemies and lost their smiles. Then came Zhuo Fan from outside. "Miss Lei, next time don't forget to wear more." Lei Yuding was so embarrassed her eyes burned with rage while her face grew hotter. A woman and an old man walked down a forest road. She was tall, mesmerizing, and emanating a perfume that drew in butterflies. The wizened old man had a white goatee, yet his eyes flashed with vigilance now and then. The two arrived at the foot of a mountain and looked to the summit. The beauty eyed the elder, but her tone was laced with anger. Zhuo Fan, you better behave. If I find you have any evil intentions towards Blackwind Mountain, I won't let you off. Ha ha ha, relax, miss. This old man only came to investigate. Moreover, what could a lone man possibly do? The old man's laughter reached the heavens above. Snorting, Lei Yuding ignored him. Furthermore, if you harm even a hair of Zio Kui, I will end you. Relax, I took her hostage because we don't trust each other. On one hand, I needed some insurance. On the other, Zhuo Fan spoke in a mysterious voice, it is for your own good. For my own good, Lei Yuding didn't understand, but the only response she got was Zhuo Fan shaking his head. The two climbed in silence. Halfway up, they got to the first checkpoint. Who's there? A strong man jumped out in their path, but when he saw Lei Yuding, he bowed. Ah, so it's young miss. Weren't you in Wingay City? Why? I had to return. Lei Yuding jutted out her chin, walking without sparing the man a glance. He is on Yang Ming's side. Zhuo Fan whispered, tell me, if your task in Wingay City was so secret, why is it that a common bandit knows of it? Lei Yuding frowned. Her previous unshakable trust in Yang Ming was gnawed by Zhuo Fan these past few days. She herself started to notice many more inconsistencies in Yang Ming's behavior. The same could be said about the man they just met. He was watching her every movement, but what she used to take it as normal before, now it felt like a warning. You'll see, once we arrive, Yang Ming will welcome you. Zhuo Fan smiled as he sped up. Lei Yuding watched his figure with a heart filled with doubts. They passed several more checkpoints before reaching the summit. They now stood in front of the Blackwind Mountain Camp's gate. Since Zhuo Fan was impersonating an old man and was led by Lei Yuding, no one questioned him. But just as they stepped foot across the gate, a man appeared. He was tall and majestic, just that a wicked smile smeared his handsome face. Zhuo Fan knew in a flash he was Yang Ming. See, all your actions were reported back. Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow at Lei Yuding, like a child who won the bet. But Lei Yuding didn't humor him by playing his game, and instead had a solemn face. Zhuo Fan had been feeding her doubts every step of the way, particularly regarding Yang Ming, who might have been a spy from the Hell Valley. She didn't want to believe it since he was the fiancé her godfather arranged for her. It was hard for her to change her perception of a man who had the trust of everyone, her godfather included. But these doubts were the fruit of Zhuo Fan's careful wording along the way. Biting her lip, Lei Yuding saw Yang Ming with a complicated gaze and braced herself for what was to come. Sister Yuding, shouldn't you be in Wingay City? Why the sudden return? Yang Ming approached her with a smile and turned to Zhuo Fan. And this is? Lei Yuding hesitated a moment. Senior brother, Veiled Dragon Pavilion isn't someone we can provoke, while Hell Valley's men aren't worthy of trust. This operation has too many dangers, so I've put the men on standby to observe for now. Yang Ming's face changed, not much but enough for Zhuo Fan to notice the killing intent in his eyes. Sister Yuding, Master's kindness is as heavy as a mountain. How can we not give our lives for such a man? How can we be so selfish? Furthermore, aren't we supposed to avenge Master? I am aware, however, Lei Yuding frowned, we cannot disregard the lives of our brothers. This is a second-ranked alchemist I have found to save Godfather. We will settle this vengeance once he recovers. Sensing his cue, Zhuo Fan cupped his hands. Ha ha ha, this old man has wandered the pugilistic world and cured countless illnesses. No injury or disease can escape my trained eye. Humph, if you were so great, we'd have known about you. Who are you trying to deceive? Yang Ming interrupted Zhuo Fan, bragging. Junior sister, only returning dragon palm can heal wounds this martial art caused. Don't you trust me? Lei Yuding recalled the times she spent with Yang Ming, and her heart was in chaos. Zhuo Fan stood between the two and asked Yang Ming, little brother, give me a chance. I'm an expert healer. Get lost. Yang Ming was furious and sent a palm attack. Zhuo Fan felt the power behind it but didn't dodge, opting to take the strike with clenched teeth. Bam. Despite not using a martial art, the palm backed up by the power of an early bone tempering cultivator struck Zhuo Fan's chest and sent him sprawling while coughing blood. Why did you attack if you refused him entry? Lei Yuding yelled. Zhuo Fan staggered to his feet after puking another mouthful of blood. This old man can't take too many hits. Miss, I'm sorry, but I will have to refuse this deal. I should have known no good comes from dealing with bandits. What did you say? Yang Ming was enraged and slapped again, but Lei Yuding stopped him. I invited him. If you want to hit him, you'll have to go through me. Humph, let him try for all I care, but if this healer makes the master worse, he won't leave this place alive. Yang Ming flung his sleeve and walked out in anger. Lei Yuding felt wronged and glared at Zhuo Fan. It's all your fault, senior brother ignores me. I was a fool for believing you. There's no way my caring senior brother could harm Godfather. Miss, didn't your godfather teach you how to judge people? Zhuo Fan wiped the blood from his mouth with a smile, but this is perfect since he bought it. Lei Yuding was shocked, then doubtful. When you talk to someone, you don't pay attention to what they speak, but how they act. Zhuo Fan's grinned evilly. The reason he stopped me before was because he didn't know of my level. Thanks to his palm strike, he gauged my strength was negligible and let me pass. You tell me if he's caring or not. Lei Yuding replayed the early scene while leaving out Yang Ming's words. All of his actions went according to Zhuo Fan's conjecture, to the point that when he left, Yang Ming showed a faint smile to her. Can it be? Lei Yuding didn't dare finish. If she did, her heart would be in too much pain and wouldn't be able to stop herself from confronting Yang Ming. At that time, the two would break all relations. Zhuo Fan patted her shoulder. Come, take me to your godfather. Damn swindler. It's fine if you want to act, but there's no point in seeing him. Lei Yuding could hardly rein her emotions. Zhuo Fan smiled while shrugging nonplussed. When you act, you need to be thorough. Moreover, the act hasn't reached its climax. With the final word, Zhuo Fan walked forward and Lei Yuding followed. As they passed, hundreds of eyes focused on them. Lei Yuding felt uneasy from so many stares. What used to be eyes filled with respect now held only wariness. The two entered the Mountain Lord's room and saw Yang Ming inside. He held a bowl of gruel, feeding the old man on the bed. Hack, I will hold you responsible for anything that happens to Master. Yang Ming smacked the bowl on the table and glared, then took a seat to the side to observe. Zhuo Fan laughed inside as he inspected the patient. When his fingers touched the old man's wrist, he injected his yuan qi and what he saw stunned him. It was all clear to him now. He has no external wounds. Zhuo Fan shook his head. Yang Ming rolled his eyes and snorted. Is there a need to even say it? But neither, internal ones. Yang Ming's eyes squinted and his hands tightened. He judged the fourth layer qi condensation Zhuo Fan as having no skill to speak of, but reality proved him wrong. Yang Ming's killing intent spiked. If Godfather isn't injured, why can't he move or speak? Lei Yuding doubted Zhuo Fan's diagnosis, thinking he was just putting on a show. When you put up an act, try to make it believable. How are you going to explain an immobilized bone-tempering expert having no injuries? Zhuo Fan scratched his nose as he smiled. This old man has concluded he has something foreign inside. Bam. Yang Ming snapped the corner of the table while the old man on the bed glared at Zhuo Fan. He wanted to speak with such ardor, but he was powerless to do so. Yet his emotional gaze said it all. Ming stormed before Zhuo Fan and pulled him back. Lei Yuding was stunned. Senior brother, what's wrong? Squinting his eyes, Yang Ming turned to Lei Yuding. Junior sister, are you hiding something from me? Lei Yuding froze, but shook her head after hesitating. How can I? Yang Ming snickered. Junior sister, after being in contact for so long, you're unable to lie to me. Of course, Lei Yuding felt danger behind Yang Ming's smile. As if a viper had its eyes on her, forcing her to stagger back. Yang Ming flashed with determination. Junior sister, where is Zio Kui? I had her do some things, Lei Yuding stammered. Yang Ming nodded, pleased. But the next second his eyes flashed evilly as he sent a palm strike. The powerful strike to her chest sent Lei Yuding flying. A trail of blood hung in the air. Yang Ming then pressed a spot on the bed and a trap door opened beneath Lei Yuding. Zhuo Fan faked shock and fled. But Yang Ming's quick hand clutched his neck, throwing him inside the hole and then closed the trap door. The old man trembled from fury seeing the two falling in Yang Ming's trap. Bam. Lei Yuding's body ached as she landed in the black cave. But then, with a loud bang, something crashed onto her with such force that she spat blood. Didn't think this kid would have a trap door. Zhuo Fan reached for the ground and felt something soft in his palm. Why is the ground so soft? Ah, bastard. Get off me! A shriek pierced his ears, and Zhuo Fan realized he was on top of Lei Yuding with his two hands conveniently placed on her chest. He rushed away and said embarrassed, sorry, it was a total accident. Lei Yuding, with a betrayed face, didn't argue. She stood up and raved, Yang Ming, so you're the one behind it all. Ha ha ha. Yang Ming's egotistical laughter came from above. Junior sister, I knew your return was suspicious, and you even brought a second-grade alchemist. You started to doubt me. Why are you doing this? Godfather always treated you well. Lei Yuding wailed in grief as her heart broke. Yang Ming replied with a sneer, I have my own plans. This old man means nothing to me. I didn't hope to deal with you so soon, but you even went as far as bringing a second-grade alchemist to ruin my plan. What, do I mean so little to you? Tears streamed Lei Yuding's cheeks. She spat blood again from heartache. Zhuo Fan shook his head, unmoved by her plight. You only have yourself to blame. But since he had a play to finish, he still kept true to his role as a healer. Little brother, I have nothing to do with your problems. Let me go, I'm innocent. Yang Ming only laughed. Damn hack, if you were useless it wouldn't have made much difference if I killed you or not. Such a shame you figured out the old man's illness. Illness? What illness? I only thought he didn't move for so long that toxins started to set in and wanted to give him a laxative. Zhu Fan cried his injustice. This is how I earn my meager living, why? Yang Ming rubbed his forehead. Curses, it's all a misunderstanding. He took the old man as having skills when he was nothing but a swindler looking to earn his next meal. In the end, what skill can a fourth-layer qi condensation old man have? Yang Ming shook his head, regretting his rash actions. He wanted Lei Yuding to complete his job, but now he had to do it himself. Damn hack. You ruined everything, Yang Ming roared. Once I come back, I'll deal with you both. Guards, make sure no one comes in. Yes, Zhu Fan then heard two guards taking positions at the door and Yang Ming leaving. Hey, little brother, I'm not the only one who makes a living like this. Hey, let me go, I'm innocent. Zhu Fan shouted a few more times but didn't get a reply and was certain Yang Ming was gone. He turned to Lei Yuding to find her sitting blankly. She just found out her fiancé was someone else entirely and felt nothing for her, willing to even kill her. Any girl would feel their heart torn to shreds from this. Rubbing his fake beard, Zhu Fan spoke. You're not too different from my young miss. You should later share each other's pain and learn from them. Humph, later, it's still unclear if we'll survive, Lei Yuding lashed. Zhu Fan's smile brimmed with confidence. It's all going according to this old man's plan. Relax, we're leaving tonight, but if you want to die, you can take your life now, of course. After all, you've been discarded. Lei Yuding snapped. If I die, I'll drag you down with me. Zhu Fan chuckled as he closed his eyes, waiting for the night. Lei Yuding pouted, yet she found bickering with Zhu Fan had eased the pain inside and that something faint sprouted. In the dead of night, a crescent moon hung in the clouded sky above Blackwind Mountain. Most bandits were asleep, with the exception of the guards. In the dark cave, Zhu Fan neared the wall and flashed his eyes open as Lei Yuding was sleeping further behind. He pointed and a red light flashed from Lei Yuding's body and floated before Zhu Fan, the blood infant. Zhu Fan didn't trust Lei Yuding even with an agreement in place. So he took Xiao Kui hostage and placed the blood infant inside her. If she made one wrong move, he'd end her in an instant. It was fortunate Lei Yuding's act was in order, but now it was time for blood infant to show its strength. The blood infant was acting as if it hadn't seen its parent for days, rubbing Zhu Fan's cheek. He smiled for a moment before his eyes flashed with mad killing intent. Blood infant knew his heart desires and flew outside. The thick stone walls didn't hinder it in the least. The mountain forest was particularly quiet at this time, and the bandits were enjoying their dreams in their rooms. But a red light flashed inside one of them, only to leave the next second to enter another bandit. The previous content smile faltered and was soon devoid of life. The blood infant's speed was dreadful, cleaning up a room of 20 bandits in one breath. When it left, the room was robbed of life. In the same manner, the blood infant traveled all over Blackwind Mountain, taking every breath of life along the way. Its final stop was the two guards at Mountain Lord's door. Whoosh. One guard saw his partner being assaulted by a red light. Something went inside you. The other guard froze, not getting what happened, but then Zhu Fan's voice came from within his body. Let us out. The guards' hearts were in a panic. Why did the voice of the one trapped beneath them come from one guard's body? Before they could understand what happened, the blood infant dried up its host before the other one's eyes, leaving nothing but dust. It then entered the other guard. The guard was scared to death to the point he lost his voice. It was then Zhu Fan's voice came from inside him. Let us out. It carried with it an undeniable power that softened the guard's knees as he relieved himself in his pants. Lord, please wait, I'll do it right now, the guard cried. Anyone who had seen their partner turn to dust would have no shred of courage left. The guard rushed in tears to open the mechanism. Rumble. The trapdoor opened and light shined inside. Lei Yuding was roused by the sudden light and looked to see Zhu Fan next to her. If you want to live, come with me. Then he jumped. Lei Yuding was amazed at how he did it, but his words made her angry. Humph, I won't die so easily. She then jumped after him. Novel. Returning to Mountain Lord's chamber, the guard begged for his life. Lord, young miss, spare me. Young, no, Yang Ming, that bastard forced me. Lei Yuding was clueless as Zhu Fan waved, stand aside. The guard curled up in a corner. Then Zhu Fan walked to the old man's bed. Zhu Fan smiled at the naked killing intent in the old man's eyes. I can heal you, but you have to listen to me afterwards. Lei Yuding was moved. You can heal, Godfather. Zhu Fan only stared at the old man in the eye. The old man hesitated, but Zhu Fan dispelled it with a smile. Relax, I won't do anything that might jeopardize your clan. I am Zhu Fan, Luo clan's steward. We have a common enemy, and I am missing a bone-tempering expert that I hope you can fill in for. His words worked to intensify the glare in the old man's eyes. Zhu Fan grinned, knowing he agreed. With a wave of his finger, the blood infant left the guard and floated in front of Zhu Fan. At the sight of the bloody light, the guard shivered. This was the one behind his partner's gruesome death. Lei Yuding was shocked, having also suffered at the hands of this light. Zhu Fan, what are you trying to do? Heal him. Zhuo Fan flitted his eyes over her. Can this thing heal? Lei Yuding was doubtful, having seen Zhuo Fan using it to attack and humiliate her before. What if this thing worsens Godfather's illness? Zhuo Fan sneered. Young miss, your godfather agreed already. I have no reason to hurt him. Then what is that thing? Lei Yuding watched the old man with worry. Demonic creature, Zhuo Fan explained coldly. Us, demonic cultivators, refine demonic creatures. Be it for attacking or defending, these creatures are essential. Do you know why Yang Ming snapped when I said the old man had a foreign object inside? Lei Yuding shook her head. Didn't you say it was a blind guess? Zhuo Fan almost spat blood. Now I know why he fooled you. You're a blockhead. Did you also believe me when I was fooling him? I see now why he left so at ease, even while you are alive. Lei Yuding blushed and lowered her head. Godfather always told her she had a talent for cultivation, a genius, but Zhuo Fan was the first to call her blockhead. The reason why he flipped was because my words hit him where it hurts. Zhuo Fan spoke gravely. As for why the old man is immobilized, it's because of a demonic creature. I will now use mine to expel the one inside him. Even so, Lei Yuding was still worried. Your demonic creature can expel his? Ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan laughed as he heard the biggest joke in his life. Based on his early diagnosis, Yang Ming's demonic creature was refined from a parasitic worm, the lowest among demonic creatures. But his was the blood infant, feared by even the 10 emperors of old. How could they ever be equal? Ignorance is terrifying. Zhuo Fan no longer wasted words on Lei Yuding and waved his finger so that the blood infant entered the old man. A flash of red passed and the old man's skin crawled. As it started to wiggle, a light flashed over that spot. Wherever the light went, the wiggling stopped. After a few dozen breaths, the blood infant returned to Zhuo Fan's body while the old man began to move his finger. His lips parted to let a faint whisper, "Tinger." Godfather, Lei Yuding grabbed his hand as tears fell, but Zhuo Fan frowned and muttered, "Damn it. This old man won't move anytime soon, his blood vessels atrophied. He needs at least half a year to recover. I helped him for nothing." Even with his low voice, Lei Yuding picked up his every word. Lei Yuding glared at him. "Make no mistake, my godfather owes you, and I will do everything to repay it." "You won't lose out," he shrugged. He wanted a bone-tempering expert, not a run-of-the-mill cultivator stuck at the cusp of entering bone-tempering stage that he could easily deal with. It was at this time the old man's body trembled and an inch-long snow-white worm crawled out of his mouth. "Ah!" Lei Yuding shrieked, but when she saw the worm, her anger got the best of her. "So you're the cause of my godfather's illness." Lei Yuding poured all her power into the lightning between her 2 fingers and stabbed at the worm. "Stop!" Zhuo Fan grabbed her hand. Lei Yuding saw his eyes flash with an odd light. "What are you doing? We need to kill this parasite." "You know nothing." Zhuo Fan looked for a box to put the worm carefully. Before closing the lid, he dropped a few drops of blood essence and smiled with satisfaction as he hid it in his chest. Never did he expect to earn so much on this trip. This creature was called frigid pool snow worm, one that lived in the coldest waters and was very rare. It was a parasite that would die if the larva didn't find a host in 2 hours after hatching. But the cold pool it lived in hardly had any living beings, and most of the worms would die soon after being born. A demonic cultivator would raise it into an inferior demonic creature, since most poisonous worms or insects could be turned into parasites. This was why many demonic cultivators considered the frigid pool snow worm a mere parasite, albeit a rarer one. Yet even in the sacred domain, one would be hard-pressed to find someone who knew of frigid pool snow worm's fatal flaw. It would only leave its host when it was on the brink of death. Just now, the blood infant used the demon transformation art to kill its larva and make it believe its life was threatened so it would come out willingly. Another way was to kill the old man. By destroying all its larvae, the worm had now become a common parasite. However, a treasure such as this could be refined into an unprecedented demonic creature in Zhuo Fan's hands. He started to let out an evil smile. His grin only made the other three's hearts shudder, thinking Zhuo Fan was worse than Yang Ming. "Carry him, we're returning to Wingay City." Zhuo Fan then turned to the remaining guard with a kind smile. "Thank you for opening the door for us." With a strained nod, the guard squeezed a smile. Then a steel grip lifted him by the throat. "But now you're expendable." "No," Lei Yuding was late in stopping him. Black energy burrowed into the guard and he soon blew up in a cloud of dust. She froze seeing Zhuo Fan kill a man for the first time. He was so ruthless, he didn't even leave a corpse. Lei Yuding recalled how she spent the last few days next to such a murderer and fear swelled inside her. Even the old man's eyes squinted. He was a seasoned cultivator, yet also felt his courage falter from Zhuo Fan's act. Lei Yuding looked at her godfather with a heavy heart, unsure if joining Zhuo Fan was a good choice. But one thing was certain, she should never ever make an enemy out of him. Sighing, she resigned in carrying her godfather behind Zhuo Fan. Bodies were strewn everywhere they looked around the camp. Each man had a peaceful death, but it was this calm expression that struck the greatest fear in the two's hearts. The mountain camp had around 400 men, yet they all died without a sound, including those who weren't corrupted by Yang Ming. The old man had tears streaming down his cheeks when he recalled drinking with his brothers. But far from hating Zhuo Fan, he was more grateful. He was the lord of Blackwind Mountain, and new decisiveness was needed here. Once word got out about his rescue, not only the ones here but also the ones living in Wingay's city would find themselves dead. If Zhuo Fan didn't do it, the old man would have asked him to. He was grateful that Zhuo Fan spared him from giving out the kill order. "Steward, Zhuo, thank you." His strained words shocked Lei Yuding while Zhuo Fan understood. The old man was both in admiration and fearful as he watched the bodies. "You did a great deed." 10 days later, Zhuo Fan returned in secret to the small courtyard in Veiled Dragon Pavilion. This trip took them half a month, but Zhuo Fan made sure to tell Lei Yuding to place the Blackwind Mountain bandits in the city on standby. Since the bandits were still, so was Hell Valley. On the way to his home, Zhuo Fan found that Long Jai and Long Kui weren't around and set for a guard to put the old man in a room while he went to look for Luo Yuncheng. 15 minutes later, Zio Kui cried when she saw the door open. She ran in tears to Lei Yuding. "Young miss." Lei Yuding wiped the girl's tears and bopped her nose. "Silly girl, they weren't hard on you, were they?" Zio Kui shook her head. "All Luo clan, besides that evil steward, treated me with kindness." "Ahem, girlie, don't talk bad about people when they're present or they will put you in your place." Zhuo Fan then walked next to the rest of the Luo clan's members who smiled at Zio Kui's antics. Luo Yunhai approved. "You dumb girl, bro Zhuo likes to spank people the most. You messed with him, now see how he messes up your rear." Zio Kui hid behind Lei Yuding. Zhuo Fan rolled his eyes. Was he a fiend in these kids' eyes? Luo Yuncheng and Captain Pang exchanged a glance but felt warm inside. Zhuo Fan always did what he wanted and never left a good first impression, to the point some might even call him vile. They experienced this firsthand, but once they got to know Zhuo Fan, they would discover that he was a trustworthy person. "You're Yuncheng?" They all turned to the old man behind Lei Yuding who watched Luo Yuncheng with emotion. Then he turned to the child. "And you are Luo Yunhai. Gods be praised, Brother Zhenen's children are alive. Senior, are you perhaps?" Luo Yuncheng hesitated. The first thing Zhuo Fan did when he returned was to bring her to Blackwind Mountain's lord, to understand the relationship between Blackwind Mountain and Luo clan, and why Hell Valley set its sights on them. Zhuo Fan made the introductions. "This is Blackwind Mountain's lord, the leader of the bandits who destroyed Cloud Manor." "What?" Luo Yuncheng's face turned gloomy and dignified as killing intent surged and her yuan qi leaked. Lei Yuding jumped in front of the old man. His frail hand moved Lei Yuding aside and dropped to his knees, tears flowing freely. "Yuncheng, Luo clan's disaster is all my fault. If you want to kill anyone, kill me." "Godfather, Mountain Lord," Lei Yuding and Zio Kui shouted, but the old man dismissed them. "I owe it to the Luo clan. You are not to stop her." Luo Yuncheng watched the weak old man with anger, yet she didn't strike. Zhuo Fan patted her shoulder. Yang Ming had him fooled for so long, immobilized him in his bed, and he had only recently recovered somewhat. The attack on the Luo clan had nothing to do with him. "Why didn't you say so earlier?" Luo Yuncheng grumbled, blaming him for almost having killed an innocent. Zhuo Fan rubbed his chin. "Although this old man is so blind that taking him in might sink the Luo clan, killing him for revenge is only natural." She rolled her eyes at Zhuo Fan's dubious logic. Despite making some sense, blaming the old man was going too far. Luo Yuncheng wasn't a person who took her anger on others, even more so when the old man seemed to have known her father well. "Senior, you're also a victim." "No, I and Zhenen are sworn brothers, but the Luo clan fell because of me. It is because of me his soul can't rest." He wiped the tears from his pain-stricken face. Luo Yuncheng was shocked and then saw Luo Yunhai shaking his head. "Senior, why is it that father never mentioned you?" Releasing the breath that he was holding, the old man calmed his restless heart. "Luo clan is a distinguished clan, legs above an old bandit such as I. But your father and I became sworn brothers right as we met and kept it hidden, afraid of affecting the Luo clan's reputation. Furthermore, my Lei clan has an ancient rule, never to make enemies of Kai and Luo clans." Luo Yunhai cried out, then muttered, "Dad once told me that regardless of the situation, to always survive or perish alongside Lei and Kai clans." "I know of the Kai clan, but is the Lei clan he was referring to yours?" Luo Yuncheng turned to her brother. "How come father never told me anything about this?" Luo Yunhai stuck out his chin and snickered. "Dad said it's a secret between men. It is not for women or outsiders to know of." Zhuo Fan frowned. Is it possible that this ancestral rule in the Lei and Luo clans is passed down to the clan head only? Correct, but as I do not have a son to pass it on, I speak of it now. Moreover, I and Zhenan became brothers, so the Luo clan would never harm us. But then he recalled how Luo clan fell because of him and shook his head in shame. Old man, do you have a martial art passed down in your clan? Zhuo Fan asked. The old man nodded. I passed down my clan's spirit-ranked martial art, lightning finger, to Tinger as I have no son. But that bastard Yang Ming took the jade slip instead. Bam, Zhuo Fan clapped. That's it, that's what they are after. Then he rushed out the door. Wait here. Everyone was stunned, clueless as to what he wanted to do. Zhuo Fan passed like a storm through Veiled Dragon Pavilion's gates guarded by the same pair of guards. They didn't even try to stop him. Bro Jiu, Zhuo Fan shouted as he searched for Long Jiu. He soon saw a closed door with Long Kui and Long Jai acting as guards and knew Long Jiu was inside. He rushed over as he shouted. Long Kui blocked him, enraged. Shut up, Uncle Jiu won't receive guests today. Get lost, Humph, I'm not a guest. I have important matters to discuss with Long Jiu. Stand aside. Zhuo Fan wanted to charge in, but Long Jai and Long Kui's power barred him entry. Important is it? Don't mistake Uncle Jiu's appreciation of you for weakness. This is Veiled Dragon Pavilion, not your backyard. Long Kui glared at him as she stood her ground before the door. Brother Zhu, Uncle Jiu can't see you today. Please go back. Long Jai was firm. Zhuo Fan knew charging in was pointless and smiled. Girlie, do you know where I've been these past few days? Humph, where could a filthy man possibly go? Last time you had two in your arms, and this time you must have spent a tender night out in their village. Long Kui rolled her eyes. Zhuo Fan shook his head with a sneer. Ha ha ha, I wish, but I'm not as free as young Miss Long. Back to the matter at hand, I followed a lead on Hell Valley. Any time now they will come to Veiled Dragon Pavilion, so don't say I didn't warn you. Humph, nonsense. If you know Hell Valley's actions, then bulls can fly. Long Kui disdained. Zhuo Fan shook his head and left, shouting his final warning. Tell Uncle Jiu I am taking the Luo clan into hiding, so we won't get dragged in Veiled Dragon Pavilion's fall. Long Kui wanted to curse. We've always treated you so well, yet you even curse us after breaking all ties. She didn't get the chance, however, as the door opened with a creak and Long Jiu's voice came. Please bring Brother Zhu in. Long Jai and Long Kui were shocked, then bowed. Yes. Zhuo Fan flitted past them like smoke. No need, I can do it myself, he. Long Kui panted with rage when she saw his smug look. What's so great about him? Isn't he just a 5th grade array master? Why does Uncle Jiu care so much about him? With a bitter smile, Long Jai returned to guarding the door. This is a prime example of hating grapes from being sour without trying them. If young Miss was a 5th grade array master instead, not only Uncle Jiu would have cared for you, he'd even praise you to high heaven. On the other hand, Zhuo Fan, who couldn't care less about Long Kui's increasing discontent of him, walked inside a huge house after spending 5 minutes crossing a corridor. He soon saw Long Jiu sitting on a high chair beaming at him. On either side of him were another 2 identical seats, with the exception that they were facing in the opposite direction. Ha ha ha, Brother Zhu, what brought you here today? Zhuo Fan stopped before Long Jiu, who was smiling at him, but that smile was soon replaced by a grim look. But I must remind you, if you came here with nonsense, there will be consequences. Scratching his nose, Zhuo Fan smiled. Hell Valley's experts are here and will soon attack this place. I wonder if this is considered nonsense. Of course not if it's true. Before Long Jiu responded, an aged voice came from one high chair, followed by the slow turning of both the chairs. 2 ferocious auras, stronger than Long Jiu, swept Zhuo Fan. His breath caught in his throat and staggered backwards as a drop of cold sweat trailed down his shocked face. The 2 chairs creaked as they turned slowly, revealing 2 old men. One had sandy hair with big eyes and thin hands that each time his finger tapped the armrest, it echoed out. His eyes flashed golden like a piercing sword, enough to cut one's heart. The second elder had red hair and took long breaths. Each exhale warped the air as if he breathed fire. One look was enough for Zhuo Fan to know they were stronger than Long Jiu. One of them even trained the golden body to completion, while the other cultivated a fire cultivation method to great success. In the short time Zhuo Fan was exposed to their power, he knew the old men weren't far from the radiant stage. In the mortal domain, any who reached this stage was among the few strongest on the continent. So this is the power of the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Zhuo Fan sighed inside. The blonde elder glanced at Zhuo Fan. Are you that Zhuo Fan old Jiu couldn't stop praising? Yes, I heard you're a 5th grade array master, Zhuo Fan nodded. Before grasping the 2's character, he refrained from acting casually. Junior has a trivial understanding of 5th grade arrays, but nothing seniors could consider as worth. Ha ha ha, a 5th grade array master is a venerable in the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. And we too are just elders, even we have to show you respect. The blonde elder let out a friendly laugh unfitting of his stiff expression. The red-haired elder's rough voice boomed. Hey kid, old Jew said you're quite arrogant, that you can raise an unknown clan above the 7 houses in 10 years. Listening to you shout bro Jew sure is arrogant enough. How come you're so shy when facing us too? Zhuo Fan smiled. I have met with bro Jew many times and got to know his limits. But this is my first time meeting the two of you. The elders were surprised. Long Jew's face twitched and snapped. Kid, you say you saw through me, is that it? And here I thought you were bossy to anyone you met when in fact you acted like this only around me. You think this old man is all washed up? He, of course not. I consider bro Jew my friend, and with how a broad-minded senior you are, you would never lower yourself to my level. If I were to act the same with a one-track-minded person, I'd be dead. Zhuo Fan shook his head and continued, that is no longer arrogance but idiocy. The three smiled inside. The blonde and the red-haired elders even showed approval. Just as old Jew said, this kid can see through others while also handling each of them with flawless flattery. His words might irritate old Jew, but as a senior, he won't bicker with a junior. I like this kid, ha ha ha. The red-haired elder laughed while the blonde elder nodded. If I didn't know you have no intention to join Veiled Dragon Pavilion, I would have insisted on having you join us, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan might be cupping his hands with a smile, but a sneer laid in his heart. In the off chance this glorious and fallen demonic emperor couldn't rise again, he would still not join a party that didn't even have a radiant stage cultivator. Quite the opposite, in fact. If you old fogies are stuck in cultivation, this old man will give you pointers. Oh, you were saying just now that Hell Valley's men are here. Are you certain? The blonde old man's face turned solemn as they went down to important matters. Long Ju turned his eye over to him, eager to know. Zhuo Fan nodded. Half a month ago, I discovered the Sun Clan had 2 more incredibly strong auras besides Elder Giant. As I was out with work these past days, I hadn't kept an eye on Sun Clan and am unclear if more had come. Humph, the more the better, I will kill them regardless. Long Ju slapped the table as his eye turned bloodthirsty. Old Ju, don't let anger cloud your judgment. The blonde old man frowned and said to Zhuo Fan, little brother, how do you know? A cat has its way and so does a mouse. The less you know, the better. Zhuo Fan shook his head. The blonde old man was doubtful, while Long Ju was convinced. Third brother Zhu's news is reliable. When that bastard Giant Fan came to Wingay City, our spy network didn't pick it up, and we only knew it thanks to Brother Zhu's warning. I can attest to that as I checked its validity myself. The blonde elder frowned and said surprised, little brother, you're quite amazing. I wonder who your master is. Overlord 9 Serenities, Zhuo Fan blurted. They were stunned. This name was domineering to the extreme, but when did this continent have such a persona? Zhuo Fan smiled to himself. In the sacred domain, it would hint to the 9 Serenities Emperor's location, but in the mortal domain, no one was the wiser. After all, the folk here were too far away, enough to keep such ancient rumors from reaching their ears. Your master must be a hidden expert to train Brother Zhu to 5th grade array master. The blonde elder didn't press for more. Brother Zhu, do you have a recovery pill? Zhuo Fan popped a question. Long Ju nodded as he took out a bottle. Is someone from Luo clan hurt? A recovery pill was a 3rd grade pill, not too expensive and neither too common, valued 100,000 spirit stones at the minimum. But since Zhuo Fan wanted it, Long Ju was bound to acquiesce. What could this pill be worth when the two were close as bros and there was even a 10 million debt binding them? Zhuo Fan took the pill, then cupped his hands. Thank you, bro Ju and elders, I will be going now. Damn punk, this was your aim all along. Long Ju cursed, you disturbed us for some meager pill, so now you must suffer my punishment. Zhuo Fan laughed as he dismissed him. I'll tell you something else then. Hell Valley will attack in 2 days, better bump up security. Then he walked out laughing. Long Jai and Long Kui saw the immensely pleased Zhuo Fan come out and knew he had a delightful conversation which only worked to sour the two's hearts. The fact that a kid like him had more right than them to join a meeting of elders left them annoyed, Long Kui in particular. The blonde elder stroked his beard, keeping Zhuo Fan's figure in his eyes. Brothers, this kid puts on a smart appearance, while each word he spoke was carefully considered. So young yet so skilled, I can't help but wonder whose disciple he is. Veiled Dragon Pavilion will have to get in touch with his master. The two nodded. On the other hand, Zhuo Fan went straight home. Along the way, he even spotted quite a few suspicious individuals prowling around. A great fight was about to erupt. He soon returned to Luo Yuncheng. Thanks to the old man's briefings, Luo Yuncheng was now privy to the ups and downs of past events and was beginning to sympathize and relate with them. Since both of them have suffered at the hands of a common enemy, their alliance became more solid. Zhuo Fan relaxed seeing this and threw a bottle at the mountain lord. Take this. I hope you'll be up to your peak in no time. What's this? Lei Yuding asked. Recovery pill? What? Lei Yuding was stunned. She knew of its value. Even if Blackwind Mountain robbed for a whole year, they'd still be unable to gather the spirit stones to pay for it. Yet he threw such a precious pill just like that. Was Luo clan that rich? Seeing through her, Luo Yuncheng patted Lei Yuding's hand. Sister Yuding, be at ease. Veiled Dragon Pavilion owes us 10 million. A third-grade pill is nothing. Lei Yuding's shock left her slack-jawed. No wonder Veiled Dragon Pavilion was protecting them free of charge. Wait, was Cloud Manor that wealthy? But Zhuo Fan rolled his eyes at Luo Yuncheng's radiant smile. Women are all the same, they all love to compare. Meanwhile, in a dark room of the Sun Clan sat 4 people. 3 of them had their faces hidden, though unable to hide the vile energy they gave off, while the 4th was Hell Valley's 8th elder, Condor Giant Fan. The handsome youth standing before them with a creepy smile was Yang Ming, also known as Yu Ming in Hell Valley. Yu Ming, Elder Giant began, you hid for more than a decade in Blackwind Mountain. You've done well. But this isn't a job for a girl. There was an incident, but it was taken care of. Yu Ming smiled. Whoosh, a black light trailed his face, drawing blood. Yu Ming was appalled Elder Giant would strike him. Staring at him, Elder Giant said unfeelingly, this secret plan had been going for a decade. If your overconfidence ruins the house's plan, I will make you beg for death. Yes, Yu Ming bowed as cold sweat formed. Leave, Elder Giant waved, we'll begin 3 days from now. Yu Ming was at the door when he caught Elder Giant's sneer. No Luo clan member is allowed to live, especially. Zhuo Fan, Yu Ming paused after each word. Nodding, Elder Giant's killing intent surged. Even if Veiled Dragon Pavilion used him to kill Yu Quan, his hands are stained with your junior brother's blood. No such person shall live in this world. Yes, Yu Ming gnashed his teeth, his smile bloodthirsty. Fan was sitting cross-legged on his bed when he opened his eyes. He was but a step away from entering the 5th layer of qi condensation, but his lack of yuan qi blocked his advance. If he had known, he would have spent more time on Blackwind Mountain to absorb more people's yuan qi. But since he was pressed for time, he only let Blood Infant do the killing, wasting good materials in the process. With the battle knocking at his door, he refrained from letting Blood Infant roam. It would be a huge loss for it to die if Elder Giant bumped into Blood Infant. Zhuo Fan muttered, I can only hold it in. It will not be long before they attack, yet his last word was followed by a terrifying power looming ever closer towards his direction. He ran out of the house and jumped onto the roof to see a man was already there, floating in the sky, Long Jiu. He too felt the power approaching closer and closer, as his single eye squinted with the release of killing intent. Despite this place being 100 meters from Veiled Dragon Pavilion, Zhuo Fan shivered from the intense desire to kill. I knew it, they're profound heaven experts. Even if Zhuo Fan couldn't pinpoint Long Jiu's power, figuring out his stage was easy. Hovering in the sky was all the proof he needed. As for the other 2 elders, they were even stronger. Thinking of them, he swept the area, but Zhuo Fan saw no shadow of them. They had to be laying in ambush to trap Giant Fan. Zhuo Fan sported a wicked grin. The 3 elders' plan showed Veiled Dragon Pavilion's decision to fight Hell Valley to the death, regardless of consequences. This left no room for amicable conciliation, while also securing the Luo clan's safety. Zhuo Fan, what happened? Luo Yuncheng with Lei Yuding and the rest came outside. Zhuo Fan guessed Mountain Lord hadn't finished digesting the pill since he didn't come. Zhuo Fan sorely lacked a peak expert. He yelled, what are you doing? Get back inside. Their little power was nothing to a profound heaven expert, unlike Zhuo Fan who relied on the 9 heavens coiling dragon array. Luo Yuncheng knew the gravity of the situation from Zhuo Fan's tense face. She took her brother and the others to hide in the house while also saying, Zhuo Fan, be careful. Zhuo Fan nodded. A sudden cawing echoed in their ears and a black cloud floated above Veiled Dragon Pavilion. With a laugh, a black-robed old man walked out of the cloud. The few strands of hair on his head drifted in the wind as his evil eyes narrowed on Long Jiu. But even so, he couldn't help spare the small courtyard a glance. Condor Giant Fan, how dare you step into my domain? Long Jiu's one and only eye was bloodshot. His bone-deep hatred seeped into every word he uttered. Snickering, Condor Giant Fan laughed. Long Jiu, Veiled Dragon Pavilion killed Hell Valley's disciple, Yu Quan. You're saying I can't even come to seek justice? Justice. Since when did Hell Valley know the meaning of the word? Long Jiu's breathing grew ragged from the grudge he carried. Who then plotted against me in Drifting Leaves City? Who then set a trap for me and ruined my purple lightning gold eye? Purple lightning gold eye. Zhuo Fan didn't expect the people in the mortal domain to cultivate such a remarkable ability. The legend of the purple lightning gold eye went back to the time of the 10 emperors, pertaining to one of the top 3 emperors, Heavenly Emperor's mystic eye. It released a golden light, divine lightning that could crush heaven. Even a saint stage expert would fall from his gaze. Yet this amazing cultivation method appeared in the mortal domain. He was curious as to how in heaven's Longju managed to cultivate it. If it was cultivated to the sixth heaven, it was a pity to have it ruined. Even he, the demonic emperor, would feel the same hatred as if having his wife stolen or his father killed. Ha ha ha, Zhuo Fan wasn't the least bit ashamed and laughed instead. Who is to blame for your idiocy? Relying on your eye, you became a top expert in the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Without this crutch, you've degenerated to become one of the 9 elders stuck to defend Wingate City. Oh, the horror. Zhuo Fan, Longju's energy blew with his rage and even his eye was on the verge of bleeding. I will have my revenge. Longju charged as a golden dragon coiled around his hand. Mid-spirit ranked martial art, soaring dragon claw. Roar. The dragon roared and left Longju's arm, bearing its fangs at the enemy. Zhuo Fan sneered and simply waved his hand. A black mist formed chains as it left his sleeve, binding the golden dragon. With a twist of his hand, the golden dragon wailed and shattered to pieces. Mid-spirit ranked martial art hell chains, Zhuo Fan mocked. Longju, you were a dragon with your eye before, but you are now a mere bug. The name of Godai Longju will never rise again. Before he could finish, a palm appeared before him and a claw grabbed his wrist. Veiled Dragon Claw, Zhuo Fan was unable to escape the vice, but he wasn't too worried as he laughed. Humph, think you can face me with mortal-ranked martial arts when even spirit-ranked martial arts are useless. He, I don't need to take your life, just. Grinning, Longju threw Zhuo Fan to the ground. The blonde and the red-haired elders jumped from nearby to attack him. Not good, Zhuo Fan started panicking. Only now did he realize Longju's ploy. Longju wanted to trap him with 2 others, cutting off his escape. Longju is set on killing me, but Zhuo Fan grinned. Now, the black cloud revealed 2 men in black as they converged on Longju. This left Longju and the elders in shock. But thanks to Zhuo Fan's intelligence, they had a contingency in place. Old Zhu, hold fast. The blonde elder moved swiftly towards Zhuo Fan with the red-haired elder behind him, ignoring Longju's fate. Longju grinned as a golden light shined on his palm and a dragon-shaped sword appeared. As long as you kill Zhuo Fan, I can die in peace. 3rd-grade spiritual weapon, dragon sword. The 2 men in black stopped in their attacks and dodged the incoming sword attack. Whoosh, a golden light passed just an inch from them as a thunderclap followed behind it. The light split the sky in half and only after 10 breaths did it recover. The 2 men in black felt dread while retreating 10 steps. They didn't expect Longju to use a treasure to deal with them. Good, the blonde elder shouted in glee. Longju's attack scared the 2 men. He wrapped himself in golden light and charged at Zhuo Fan. Attacked from 2 sides, Zhuo Fan was like meat on a chopping board. Old Zhu, take a look, see how 3rd brother ends him. The blonde elder laughed as he attacked. Despite not using a martial art, ear-piercing sounds were heard as his hand moved. Zhuo Fan began to sweat as his eyes squinted, feeling death breathing down his neck. Boom, but then a purple light exploded. It not only blocked the attack, but even forced the blonde elder to cough blood. The red-haired elder rushed to check on him, while the blonde elder ignored his wounds and stared at the rolling smoke. As for Longju, he was shocked. When the smoke scattered, it revealed a panting Zhuo Fan. But this time, he was no longer afraid and even grew rampant, having escaped death. That was close. Didn't think Veiled Dragon Pavilion would send 5th and 3rd elders after me. Devastating gold dragon and world-burning fire dragon, your reputation precedes you. The 2 elders were staring, not at Zhuo Fan, but at the thing on his shoulder. Soul-devouring crow, Zhuo Fan frowned. He didn't expect for Elder Zhuo to have such a demonic creature. The soul-devouring crow's body wasn't formidable, but it can devour anything and transfer what it swallowed to its owner. Soul-devouring crow's power depended on its owner. But one thing was certain, soul-devouring crow was among the strong demonic creatures. Zhuo Fan's eyebrows shook as he looked into the crow's eyes. One was black while the other was golden and released a purple light. Even faint thunder sounds came out. 3rd heaven, purple lightning gold eye. That's my eye. With just a look, Longju saw through the secret of Crow's eye. He used to move unhindered thanks to that same eye and even earned the name Godai Longju. But the Godai was now his enemy's weapon to be used against him. I impossible, Longju shook his head in denial. Zhuo Fan's laughter was unrestrained. Longju, did you ever think that your precious purple lightning gold eye will one day be put to use on my demonic creature? If you want to kill me, you'll have to first overcome this eye. Then he began making hand signs. The crow flew and purple light glinted in its golden eye, rumbling as it charged at Longju. Watch out, the blonde elder woke Longju out of his stupor in time to defend with his dragon sword. Boom. Longju was struck down by one purple lightning after another and was blown away coughing blood. The 2 elders rushed to Zhuo Fan in panic. They knew that as long as Giant Fan stopped his hands, the crow would stop moving. But how could Giant Fan not see such an obvious flaw? Sneering, he gestured again and caused 2 explosions. The purple lightning struck the 2 elders. They bore the brunt as it sent them flying and blood leaked from their mouths. Zhuo Fan was shocked by how vicious the purple lightning gold eye was. It was only in 3rd heaven and it could already outclass a profound heaven expert. As matters stood, Veiled Dragon Pavilion would lose and the Luo clan would be next. No, I cannot let that happen. Squinting, Zhuo Fan gnashed his teeth and pointed, sending a red light at Giant Fan. He was taking a huge gamble. If Blood Infant was found out, it would die in a blink from the purple lighting and him along with it. But if he stood at the sidelines, the Luo clan would be sure to fall for good. Zhuo Fan hardened his heart and sent the Blood Infant on the offensive. Giant Fan was focused on Veiled Dragon Pavilion's 3 elders and was oblivious to the incoming danger. Ha ha ha, purple lightning gold eye is awesome. Not even together are you 3 fools its match. The crow flew back to Giant Fan's shoulder as he cackled. The 2 men in black flew to either side of Giant Fan and grinned. The 3 Veiled Dragon Pavilion elders' faces darkened. The enemy looked down on them despite acting together. This was the first time this ever happened. If they lost here today, Veiled Dragon Pavilion's reputation would be thrown into the mud, all thanks to them. Don't think you can win with a damn demonic creature and a stolen eye, Condor. The blonde elder's eyes flashed golden and exploded with killing intent. Old Jew, old Wu, stay here. I will take their heads. While shocked, the red-haired elder saw the determination in his eyes and nodded, as did Long Jiu. As they were all elders of Veiled Dragon Pavilion, they knew the blonde old man's true power. Once the devastating gold dragon was enraged, he would split the earth and shatter the heavens. During the time when Long Jiu had his eye, there were 3 people in Veiled Dragon Pavilion he couldn't beat. Sinden's 2nd elder were the first 2, while the last was the enraged 3rd elder. Whoosh! A dazzling golden light shined and started covering him with a thick film like a golden armor. Each time his finger moved, it let out a metallic sound. Giant Fan's face turned grave, picking up on the threat to his life the old man's change promised. Allow me to educate you that the name of devastating gold dragon isn't an empty title. The blonde elder formed claws with his hands, all the while radiating in gold and staring at Giant Fan with a cold gaze. Then he rushed at Giant Fan. In his charge, the elder brought his hands together, just like scissors. Roar, a dragon roar echoed in the pitch-black night. Giant Fan saw the blonde elder appeared surrounded by the image of a huge dragon. It unclenched its jaws and followed the blonde elder's claws to swallow the 3 enemies whole. High Spirit ranked martial art, devouring dragon claw. Startled, Giant Fan hastened his hand gestures to control the crow's purple lightning gold eye. Boom, and a purple light flashed. But this time, when the lightning fell on the dragon, it bounced off like a bullet, not even able to slow it down. Giant Fan panicked, unable to believe that the blonde elder would be so strong that he could deflect purple lightning gold eye's attack. But he did notice how the dragon's golden aura dimmed. Hell chains! Giant Fan and his 2 men moved together. Tens of black chains flew from their arms and fell on the dragon like a dark cloud. The chains tightened and the dragon body was rendered motionless under their vice, yet the dragon still lingered, wanting to press on the attack. You're not Veiled Dragon Pavilion's 3rd elder for nothing, needing all 3 of us to hold you back. Giant Fan gave his all in grasping the black chains along with his men. They even began to sweat. The 3rd elder gnashed his teeth, his lips curling in disdain. You think the 3 of you could have held me if not for the purple lightning gold eye? He, you're right. We still have the purple lightning gold eye. Giant Fan snickered. Now that 3rd elder reminded him, he used the hand that held the black chains to make hand signs. With a cawing sound, purple lightning flashed. The 3rd elder's scalp went numb. Both sides were in a deadlock. If the purple lighting hit, it would spell heavy wounds, if not death. 3rd brother, Long Jiu, and the red-haired elder were nervous, rushing to help despite not making it in time. Seeing 3rd elder's fate sealed under the purple lightning, Giant Fan grinned. It was at this moment when Zhuo Fan, who was just 100 feet away, showed a mystifying smile. Using this chaos, I'll take your life. I can't have the Veiled Dragon Pavilion lose such an important battle. Zhuo Fan's killing intent spiked as his hand moved. The blood infant lying in wait just around the corner sprung up from its hiding place, aiming for Giant Fan. With Giant Fan and his 2 men focused on 3rd elder, they were oblivious to the impending danger. Die 3rd elder, Giant Fan cackled as the crow's eyes spilled purple lightning. But then a sudden flash of red entered his body and felt his breath hampered, dispelling the black chains from his hand. Elder Giant, what are you doing? His 2 men jumped in fright. Giant Fan found something burrowing in his body and wanted to expel it, but it was too late. RD Elder pressed his advantage and exploded with power. Roar, the dragon burst out of the chains and bit down. The two men's eyes squinted as they fled, but the pitiful elder giant was rooted in place thanks to Blood Infant's control. The next instant, an arm flew way up high. RD Elder grabbed it and stood with pride as he laughed at the one-armed Zhuo Fan and his men. Curse you, Veiled Dragon Pavilion went as far as refining demonic creatures to make a sneak attack. Zhuo Fan clenched his teeth as his heart bled with grief. Thinking how a veteran demonic cultivator as himself was hampered by a demonic creature left a bad taste in his mouth. Would he get any respect from others now? What was even worse was that this was done by righteous cultivators. Let's go, Zhuo Fan knew he lost the advantage and there was nothing to gain from fighting a losing battle, yet Longju wasn't one to let them go. After them, RD Elder's feelings were mutual and shouted while pursuing them. The Blood Infant returned inside Zhuo Fan without anyone's knowledge. He smiled. It's best for Hell Valley to put this blame on Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Their hatred isn't light anyway and a bit more won't affect them. Zhuo Fan justified his actions. Just that he couldn't help the purple lightning gold eye to catch his attention. One way or another, I'll have to get it. Zhuo Fan rubbed his chin as his eyes roamed around. Few things caught the demonic emperor's eye, and the celestial emperor's purple lightning gold eye happened to be one of them. Kill. But then, a group of men in black charged into Veiled Dragon Pavilion. They were all bone-tempering experts. However, Veiled Dragon Pavilion had a contingency in place, and Long Jai led his own team to repel the enemies. Mere moments after the two sides clashed, Long Kui came out to meet them with her own team from the small courtyard. During the Profound Heaven experts' battle, they remained hidden, waiting for the right moment to strike. They waited for all of Hell Valley's men to charge in so they could kill them all in one go. Hell Valley acted as if they didn't expect an ambush and retreated with Long Jai and Long Kui hot on their tails. No sooner did they retreat after the initial attack, leaving the Luo clan and the ones in the small courtyard. Aren't they baiting? Zhuo Fan was calm, having known Hell Valley's plan. He was waiting for the true mastermind to come out. Soon after, Yang Ming appeared leading Blackwind Mountain bandits. Zhuo Fan smirked. Hell Valley had paid a heavy price to have the Lei clan wipe out the Luo clan. I wonder how far are they willing to go. Bam! The little courtyard's door was kicked open and Yang Ming and his bandit gang stormed the premises. Get the returning dragon palm and kill the Luo clan. Yang Ming extended his hand. Whoosh. A breeze passed, followed by Zhuo Fan landing from the roof and barring their path. People, the way is closed off. Please go back for your own sake. The bandits stopped in shock. Yang Ming stepped from among them and snickered. Are you from the Luo clan? Zhuo Fan nodded. I am Luo clan steward Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan, Yang Ming exposed a savage grin. Here I was wondering where to look for you, and yet you were kind enough to jump right in my path. Whoever brings me his head will get a reward. Yang Ming shouted to the bandits around him. Oh, under Yang Ming's enticing offer, the bandits shot for Zhuo Fan like cannonballs. Zhuo Fan sneered inside. What could second-layer chi condensation cultivators possibly do? In but a breath, Zhuo Fan's hand moved like a shadow, touching the head of the first victim that dared to step close and sending out black energy through the use of demon transformation art. Under the shocked gaze of the rest, the victim turned to dust and was swept away by the wind. Even Yang Ming was scared, never seeing such a ruthless killing method despite his stay in the Hell Valley, which was filled with its fair share of demonic cultivating monsters. If he was scared, the bandits were horrified. Despite Zhuo Fan having killed a weakling, how he did it drew a far greater reaction out of them. That's the best demonic method. Yang Ming's eyes flickered on and off. Gone was his disdain for Zhuo Fan, now replaced by endless caution. Who the hell are you? There's no way the Luo clan could have someone like you. With a sinister smile, Zhuo Fan pretended to caress an imaginary beard while speaking in an aged voice. Little brother, did you forget? This old man is but a swindler. It's you. Yang Ming realized he was the old guy accompanying Lei Yuding before. Since he was here, that meant. Killing intent flashed as Yang Ming spoke. Where are they? Zhuo Fan shook his head. Are you dumb or what? Since I'm here, of course they're here with me. Yang Ming's heart tightened. If the old man and Lei Yuding came out, his control over the Blackwind Mountain bandits would crumble. I should have killed you two from the start. Yang Ming's yuan qi exploded. His bone-tempering power caused the bandits to flinch back 3 steps. Zhuo Fan only shook his head. You wouldn't have attacked, not until you saw Zio Kui. For you to have hidden for so long in the Blackwind Mountain shows your careful nature, unable to accept the smallest mistake. Until you knew for certain Zio Kui's location, you'd never kill her master. Yang Ming's heart was in upheaval. Never for the likes of him could he imagine a stranger had such a piercing analysis of him that could see through his every move. He was far more cunning than even the old men in the Hell Valley. He had to die. As Zhuo Fan words landed, the bandits began to doubt. Yang Ming couldn't drag this any longer. For fear of exposing himself for good and ruining the house's plan, he chose to attack Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan's demonic method left him in shock, but as Zhuo Fan was but a fourth-layer qi condensation cultivator, he could kill him in one blow. Zhuo Fan was taken aback by Yang Ming's sudden attack and retreated. Have you no dignity? How can a bone-tempering cultivator use all his power against a qi condensation cultivator? Yang Ming cackled. You think I'm as dumb as Yuquan to be caught off guard by you? His finger extended and lightning blossomed, the same move used by the Lei clan lightning finger. For early bone tempering, Yang Ming to use a spirit-ranked martial art on Zhuo Fan showed the desperation he had in wishing to kill him. And yet, despite his opponent's fierce momentum, Zhuo Fan stopped and spread his arms as he welcomed Yang Ming with a mystifying smile. Yang Ming was unnerved, but not enough to curb his attack. Zhuo Fan then curled a finger and a yellow light encased him. Yang Ming collided with the light and bounced off while coughing blood. What is that? Yang Ming was dumbstruck in the face of such a light. He only felt as if Zhuo Fan's finger held the power to send him flying. How did he do it? Wasn't he just a qi condensation punk? Didn't Yuquan give him a heavy wound? How is he so strong? Zhuo Fan chuckled at Yang Ming's puzzlement as his hand moved. You're a bit stronger than Yuquan, but still trash. The only fate of trash is death. Zhuo Fan's eyes flashed with killing intent. A golden dragon burst out of the ground and swooped down on Yang Ming. Its majestic power brought everyone else to their knees. Yang Ming felt fear and wanted to curse. Blast it, the house lied to me. Didn't they say this punk can only sneak attack? How does he have this much power? If that dragon attacks, not even my bones will remain. Only a profound heaven expert has such power. The Blackwind Mountain bandits were terrified. Didn't Hell Valley bait all the experts? Why was one still here? No one from the 7 houses is trustworthy. Stop! Just when the golden dragon was poised to strike, a shout came. The bandits knew it belonged to their young miss and hope rose within them. Zhuo Fan snorted. Yet the next moment, tens of black chains descended from the black cloud above. They not only tied the dragon up, but also crushed it. Zhuo Fan looked with contracted pupils. The black cloud was the same one the 3 elders from the Hell Valley relied on before. There was another one. Frowning, Zhuo Fan knew the black cloud hid another elder. A man descended from the black clouds and landed in front of Yang Ming. Lei Yuding also arrived next to Zhuo Fan and glared. Didn't I tell you to stop? Anyone who stands in my way is my enemy. Why should I listen to you? Zhuo Fan didn't look at her, only staring at the newcomer. Lei Yuding snorted. Sigh, that old giant Fan told me to watch over the Blackwind Mountain bandits. I thought it was a waste of time and did not take it seriously. The man waved. Yuming, leave. No, Elder Yun, I want to get Zhuo Fan's head myself for junior brother Yuquan's revenge. Yuming glared at Zhuo Fan. Bam. The man gave him an unexpected slap, sending him flying. You think you can? The man sneered. You can't even match his skill, so go back to Hell Valley. This doesn't concern you anymore. Elder Yun. Yuming was distracted seeing the unfeeling gaze in the man's eyes. He never saw Elder Yun like this. Yuming was among the best in Hell Valley, and no elder ever looked at him with such cold eyes. The man snorted. Despite your scheming heart, I used to see you as a man of talent, worthy of raising. But now that I met this youngster, I realized you are nothing more than an insect. The man then turned to Zhuo Fan with a smile. Child, you have one chance. Join Hell Valley and all our differences shall be made void. Or, whoosh. He swiped and a black chain tightened tens of Blackwind Mountain bandits. He pulled a bit and all that was left were pieces of flesh, or follow in their footsteps. Shock spread to those still alive to see this, and Lei Yuding glared in rage at him. Rubbing his chin, Zhuo Fan smiled. Wasn't Hell Valley using Blackwind Mountain to save its reputation? Why kill them? With how smart you are, I'm sure you can figure it out. The man snickered. Since our plan is out in the open, I would rather avoid raising doubts in them by killing all now. Them. Who's that? Zhuo Fan frowned. The man shook his head. You will know once you join us. Zhuo Fan only laughed. To me, Hell Valley is the same as he is to you, a mere insect. He pointed at Yuming with a taunt. The man's ire grew. Kid, don't you fear death? Zhuo Fan snickered. Can you deliver it? The man jumped and hacked his palm in rage at Zhuo Fan. Die. Zhuo Fan made a gesture and a yellow light blocked the attack. Yuming saw them clash with jealousy and hatred. He was considered outstanding and was sent on an important mission to Blackwind Mountain, but Zhuo Fan's sudden appearance ruined everything. It even caused the elder to abandon him. Zhuo Fan, you'll see. Yuming wiped the blood from his mouth and fled. Lei Yuding chased at once, and the two were gone moments later. Zhuo Fan, on the other hand, faced the man with the help of the array. Seeing her go, he sighed, foolish girl, and he sent Blood Infant to follow them in secret. The man struck 3 times, and Zhuo Fan countered with a hand sign, which erected yellow light. After 20-odd hits, the man floated in the air and sneered. You're really something to be able to control the third-grade coiling dragon array at such a young age. It's most unfortunate you met me." He then rushed towards Zhuo Fan again as the latter formed a golden dome of light to stop him. Having foreseen this, the man gathered 20% more power in his palm before striking. The dome crumbled under the devastating blow, and he continued to speed towards Zhuo Fan. Humph, the power of profound heaven isn't something a chi condensation kid can even begin to imagine. Zhuo Fan smiled and muttered, "A fifth-grade array isn't something a novice can comprehend either." With a snort, Zhuo Fan's hand signs took a sudden change. First heaven, roar, a golden dragon erupted from the ground and moved to attack Elder Yun. With disdain plainly seen on his face, Elder Yun waved tens of black chains around the dragon and crushed it. Just as the dragon dissipated, Zhuo Fan's gesture changed again. Second heaven, roar, roar, 2 golden dragons charged this time. Shocked, the man never saw this array forming 2 dragon images. This exceeded his understanding of the coiling dragon array, but it wasn't something out of his control. Both of his arms moved and the dragons were crushed under black chains. Even before the man could take a breather, Zhuo Fan shouted 2 times. Third heaven, 3 dragons took to the skies. Fourth heaven, and the 4th dragon appeared. Fifth heaven, 6th heaven, 9th heaven. A total of 9 golden dragons roamed the skies as their fearsome roars echoed everywhere. Every great clan in the city burrowed deeper into their homes, without daring to make a peep. This battle was by far the most horrifying one in their lives. The man was gasping for breath and looked appalled at the majestic scene. Never in his wildest dream could he ever conceive that a chi condensation child was able to control such an imposing array. This isn't the coiling dragon array. The man saw the 9 golden dragons setting their vicious sights on their enemy him. Zhuo Fan gave a cruel grin. "This is the 5th-grade array, 9 heavens coiling dragon array. Try it if you have the nerve." After a deep look at Zhuo Fan, the man cackled. "How amusing. To think a kid can control a 5th-grade array, I am more and more intrigued. For the last time, will you join Hell Valley?" The man's fervent look was akin to gazing upon a priceless treasure. But he only received disdain. "I've never once considered joining a rundown place like yours. Since you chose to keep that road shut, the only path left is to your death." The man flew like the wind, with all his killing intent focused on Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan was but a teenager, but the ruthless and calculative mind coupled with his preeminent talent left the man with dread for the future. It was best to avoid any future mishaps and kill him on the spot. Zhuo Fan was clear of Elder Yun's intention, and with a hand sign from him, he sent the 9 dragons to attack the Elder. 9 dragon tails charged. An ear-piercing sound came, and the man had to come face to face with the awe-inspiring power of 9 dragon tails, stopping him dead in his tracks. His only choice was to unleash his black chains, hoping their power was enough. Rumble, under the shaking sky and spinning ground, the man's chains and the dragon tails clashed. It resulted in him being sent flying. He flew 50 meters before landing, puking blood the first instance his body made contact with the ground. Zhuo Fan mocked, "How did you become an elder with just this much strength? How did Hell Valley even wiggle its way among the 7 noble houses?" The man was about to spout obscenities. Who'd imagine this day would come when a chi condensation child would toy with him? Once word got out, he'd be the butt of the Empire's joke. Even if he returned to the Valley Lord wouldn't let him off with just a tongue lashing. "Kid, even if you go down on your knees and beg, I will still kill you." His eyes bloodshot, a golden ring appeared on the man's hand, exuding a dreadful aura. Demonic treasure? Zhuo Fan started to get serious. A demonic treasure was a demonic cultivator's weapon, just as how a spiritual weapon was to a righteous cultivator. With it, the man's power would multiply. Hell Valley's elder, have you no shame? To use a demonic treasure against a chi condensation junior? Zhuo Fan mocked. But Elder Yun replied with a savage grin, "He, who will be able to tell when everyone's dead?" Zhuo Fan was anxious now. He wanted to provoke Elder Yun just so he could avoid this situation, but when up against a demonic cultivator, they would stoop to any low. Then again, if it were him, he'd come to the same decision as well. If a righteous cultivator gave up his life for honor, fought for justice, and yet still died gruesomely, a demonic cultivator would only take that man for a fool. This was why no demonic cultivator would ever wish to battle with another demonic cultivator. They were ruthless, scheming, and sinister characters, and the only outcome of fighting them was one victor and one loser with no in-between, particularly in the shameless one's case. He die, kid. The man attacked again, and Zhuo Fan sent the 9 dragon tails to fend him off. But this time, the ring flashed silver light and increased the man's speed, cutting through the tails like a silver saber. So fast, Zhuo Fan sucked a cold breath. He knew the man's newfound power was all because of the ring. The silver light then flashed in front of him, followed by the man's vicious grin. "Kid, there's nowhere left for you to run." Zhuo Fan clenched his teeth, seeing the ring's saw blade edge. The silver light seemed to cut even the air. Third-grade demonic treasure? Zhuo Fan smiled. Good eye. The man nodded. You're the first chi condensation with the honor of dying from this third-grade demonic treasure, Savage Moon. Wait, Zhuo Fan waved frantically. If I join Hell Valley now. Too late, the man laughed as Savage Moon approached Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan didn't want to die, he just got reincarnated, but all he could do was sigh and close his eyes. Boom, a sudden thunderclap reached his ears and Zhuo Fan could still feel that he was alive. Opening his eyes, he saw a tall old man in front with blood trickling down his arm. The old man was facing Elder Yun, whose Savage Moon's blade was stained in fresh blood. Who are you? Elder Yun asked. Blackwind Mountain's Lei Yunshin. As the old man shouted, lightning flashed all over him. Any that dares to mess with the Luo clan are my enemies. Zhuo Fan now knew the old man was, in fact, the mountain lord of Blackwind Mountain. Before, he was but a bedridden patient and now was back to his health. You've recovered? Zhuo Fan was overjoyed. Smiling, Lei Yunshin expressed his thanks. Thanks to Steward Zhuo's kindness, I've not only recovered but also entered the profound heaven stage. Zhuo Fan was in glee. That was exactly what he needed right now. Humph, what can a chi condensation kid and a fresh profound heaven geezer do? You'll all die just the same under my Savage Moon's blade. He lifted the bloody Savage Moon. Don't be so sure. Chuckling, Zhuo Fan made a sign and 9 golden dragons soared. Old man Lei, please hear me out. This time we'll be taking this geezer's life. Lei Yunshin saw the confidence in Zhuo Fan's eyes and nodded. While their enemies seemed to have heard the biggest joke in his life. Ha ha ha, I've broken through your array once, kid. This profound heaven old man's cultivation is still unstable, not enough to take my life. Smirking, Zhuo Fan muttered. When I use someone, I never take any rules into consideration. This is our best chance, old man Lei. Attack, good. Since Zhuo Fan saved his life once, Lei Yunshin had faith in him. He knew the enemy was stronger than him, but still chose to face him. Lightning Finger, Elder Yun sneered and sent black chains. Even if Lei Yunshin did not die from this attack, he'd still be sporting heavy wounds. However, the 9 golden dragons charged into battle as well. Elder Yun had no choice but to soar up and use the silver light from his weapon to cut the dragons in two. The dragons were unable to stop his assault as he inched closer to Zhuo Fan. It's best I kill you first. Elder Yun's speed left Zhuo Fan without time to make a hand sign, but Lei Yunshin appeared with his lightning finger aimed at the elder's throat. You're asking for it, the man had to shift Savage Moon's target from Zhuo Fan to the Lei Yunshin. Lei Yunshin showed a gratified smile, still willing to attack Elder Yun. For Lei Yunshin, even if Zhuo Fan had intended to send him to his death, he'd be willing. Dying for the Luo clan's sake was a good death to him. Yet something happened just when Savage Moon was nearing the old man's chest. Thanks to the old man's distraction, Zhuo Fan finished his hand signs and bit his tongue, spitting blood essence. Humph, have a taste of 9 heavens coiling dragon array's real power. The 9 cut dragons turned into golden dots and rushed to Zhuo Fan. A glorious and ancient roar was released, followed by a huge dragon far greater than all the previous 9 dragons combined. This new dragon immediately rushed towards Elder Yun. The man's eyes narrowed as his heart shook, but it was already too late. The new dragon's speed was even greater than Savage Moon's. He couldn't even poise Savage Moon to defend, and the dragon crashed into him, carrying him off into the sky. How can a chi condensation brat? Following his final wail, the dragon held the man in its jaws and exploded. Novel boom, a grand explosion rumbled the skies above the small courtyard as the dragon ignited the heavens in a flash of gold. The shockwave even put pressure on the building, despite being so far, while other houses crumbled in the aftermath. Deafening noise from the explosion attacked people's ears even as they covered them up and laid trembling on the ground. This sound attack lasted for a full minute, but nothing could erase that dreadful image from their hearts, nothing. 100 miles out, 2 men in black fought as they fled from Long Jiu's group. Where is that bastard giant Fan? Long Jiu's anger spiked when he caught no sight of his mortal enemy. Son of A, that old dog must have left these 2 to stall us. Forget it. Third elder glared with killing intent. Let's finish off these 2 first. Under the 3 elders' united assault, the 2 men in black were sweating bullets, having no choice but to fight. Then a dreadful noise came from Veiled Dragon Pavilion's direction, followed by a golden light that lit up the whole sky. The 5 people stopped their attack and stood in shock. What was that? Did another expert appear? Third elder felt his ears rumbling and sucked in a cold breath, but which expert could have unleashed such a move? Retreat. With no time to waste, Third elder shouted as he flew back to Veiled Dragon Pavilion. He was far more worried about its well-being than the death of these 2 Hell Valley elders. Though Long Jiu was unwilling, he followed the 3rd elder with a sigh. Seeing the 3 Veiled Dragon Pavilion elders retreat, the 2 men in black let out a sigh of relief, yet were still puzzled by how the events turned out. They knew an elder was there to make sure the plan didn't go south, but even that elder wasn't powerful enough for this kind of feat. Plus, a bunch of chi condensation insects didn't garner such a heavy hand either. The answer was quite simple in this case. Another expert much stronger than Elder Yun showed up. Hearts heavy with worry, the 2 discarded any plans of going there to assist Elder Yun. They feared that the Veiled Dragon Pavilion's 3 elders might set a trap, so they took the only viable choice, retreat. Elder Yun, you're on your own. At the small courtyard, Lei Yunchen watched the night sky slack-jawed. He thought Zhuo Fan wanted him to bait Elder Yun and leave him open for a sneak attack. He went with it despite knowing he was a dead man. As long as Luo clan survived, it was worth dying for. But Zhuo Fan defied his imagination. He still acted as bait but did not pay the ultimate price. While the enemy was caught unaware, the lad sprung up with a devastating blow that took Elder Yun's life, leaving no remains. Recalling the sky-blazing aftermath, Lei Yunchen shuddered. Not only was he surprised, but also shocked. A Hell Valley's elder, a profound heaven expert, died in one move. This kid is terrifying. Old man Lei. Zhuo Fan caught his breath and stood up weakly. Lei Yunchen heard him and rushed over to hear his instructions. His faith in the kid had once again strengthened. This was no longer just gratitude for having saved him or faith in a youth's potential, but the respect for the strong, steward Zhuo. If there's anything you want done, just tell me. Zhuo Fan nodded. Old man Lei. I'll leave Luo clan in your care while I go bring young Miss Lei back. No worries, they'll have to pass over my dead body before they can harm a hair of Yunhai and Yuncheng. Lei Yunchen nodded with resolve. Zhuo Fan showed a relieved smile and went after Lei Yuding. Hell Valley had left only one elder here and he too was dead now. Seeing how no other enemy popped up while fighting, Zhuo Fan was certain Hell Valley only sent 4 men in total, including the ones Veiled Dragon Pavilion's elders were chasing. Under a profound heaven expert's careful watch, the Luo clan siblings' safety was guaranteed, so he could devote all his attention to saving that foolish girl. To be on the safe side, he picked up the Savage Moon first. A 3rd-grade demonic treasure shouldn't be wasted. Yang Ming ran like mad while clutching his chest in the gloomy forest. He was injured from the smack he got from Zhuo Fan's array, but Elder Yun's slap made it worse. His mind was clouded and breath ragged. As for the dreadful explosion before, he didn't have the time to waste on it. But he was shocked nonetheless, finding it inconceivable for Elder Yun and Zhuo Fan's fight to escalate to such degree. Stop! A clear and angry shout came from behind, freezing Yang Ming in place. He turned to see Lei Yuding watching him with complex emotions. Making sure she was alone and double-checking Zhuo Fan wasn't there, Yang Ming relaxed and showed a wicked grin. Junior sister, you want to stop me all by yourself? Frowning, Lei Yuding's eyes turned misty. For my godfather, I will help him get rid of such a traitorous disciple. Ha ha ha, traitorous disciple. I was never one of you in the first place. Yang Ming mocked her. Moreover, do you think you can kill me with your strength, even if we are to die together? At least I can repay Godfather's kindness for raising me. Lei Yuding's eyes glittered with tears as she stared at him right in the eye. I just want to know. Did you ever love me? Black demonic energy drifted from Yang Ming's hand as he sneered. I am a genius disciple of Hell Valley. If I am ever to marry, I would choose from among the 7 houses. How can I be tied down with the likes of you? Tears fell unabated, but Lei Yuding hardened her determination. Then from now on, we are through. Lei Yuding followed her last word with lightning flickering between her fingers. Yang Ming laughed, hardly afraid, and fought back with the black-colored hand. In the clash between the freezing palm and the flickering lightning, sparks flew. However, Yang Ming dodged lightning finger at the last second and struck down Lei Yuding with no remorse. Lei Yuding saw his evil grin and came to terms with the outcome, closing her eyes for death to take her. It was then that a flash of red struck Yang Ming's black palm. Bam! Yang Ming was sent flying and coughed blood in midair. An infant's cry came from the red light as it flew into a bush. Waking from her stupor, Lei Yuding saw Yang Ming heavily wounded on the ground and the weakened red light among the bushes. She knew it was Zhuo Fan's blood infant. She stood there in a daze, muttering as she glanced at blood infant. Was it you who saved me? The blood infant tried to fly again, only to collapse. She did not know of the inseparable bond between Zhuo Fan and the blood infant, however, she knew it was something he treasured. But even so, to think that Zhuo Fan would send his treasure to save her, Lei Yuding began to feel warm inside. When she turned her focus to Yang Ming, only killing intent remained in her eyes. Walking over, Lei Yuding's fingers crackled with lightning. Yang Ming was panicking, wanting to flee, but hardly had the energy to get up. Sister Yuding, have mercy. Remember how close we were. Remember how we used to laugh? Yang Ming shrank backwards while begging. Now I want to kill you even more, snorting, her fingers struck without hesitation. W8, spare me, Yang Ming wailed, but there was no one to hear his cry. Bam! When Lei Yuding's attack was about to land, a tremendous power blew her away. A bald elderly landed next to Yang Ming. Elder Giant, Yang Ming cried out. He took Elder Giant as his savior, having pulled him out of the jaws of death. Never had he been so thrilled to meet an elder from his house. Throwing a side glance at the wounded kid, he bellowed, "How did you fall so low?" "What about the plan?" Yang Ming's face fell and shook his head, unclear. Elder Jian wanted to kick this worthless thing away. You are the one most knowledgeable about this plan, and yet you come to me saying it's unclear. The house's expense was heavy in this decade-long plan, and this is your answer. If Elder Jian didn't need to hear the kid's report, he would have killed him right then and there. Forget it, we'll speak of it when we return. Sighing, Elder Jian's eyes turned to the stunned Lei Yuding. After we get rid of this girl, he then jumped at her with a palm strike. Coming face to face with a profound heaven expert for the first time, Lei Yuding was frozen in fear. Under such power, she couldn't even defend. Is this the power of the profound heaven stage? Lei Yuding paled, rooted to her spot as she waited for the palm to take her life. Whoosh, a sudden silver flash cowered Elder Giant into retreating before the hit landed. A figure made itself notice as it walked next to Lei Yuding, striking a sinister grin. Do all elders from Hell Valley like to pick on juniors? Zhuo Fan, Lei Yuding cried in joy as her heart found peace. You again? Elder Giant squinted his eyes at the savage moon in shock. Why do you have that demonic treasure? What happened to Elder Yun? Grinning, Zhuo Fan pointed savage moon at Elder Giant. Oh, you recognize it. Giant Fan's mind was in chaos, don't tell me. How can that old guy die at the hands of a pup? But the more he looked at the demonic treasure, the more Giant Fan felt shock, hatred, and above all, confusion. Be that as it may, but no Hell Valley's demonic treasure was allowed to fall into an outsider's hand. Elder Giant then saw the naked killing intent in Zhuo Fan's eyes. Aware of the other's intention, Zhuo Fan snickered as he sent a whisper to Lei Yuding. Listen, aim for the old man's heart and close your eyes as you attack with lightning finger. Ignore everything else. She turned to him in shock. How can I hit him if I close my eyes? We won't win against a profound heaven cultivator regardless. But she soon recalled Zhuo Fan's unscrupulous character and understood his intention. The only reason he saved her was to use her as a live bait to throw into the jaws of death. Lei Yuding nodded despondently. She was already prepared to die when she made the decision to come here. Zhuo Fan curled his finger, making Blood Infant return to his body unnoticed as he shouted, "Now!" Zhuo Fan went first, and Lei Yuding followed his plan by closing her eyes and using lightning finger. Startled, Elder Giant didn't expect them to move first, but he didn't mind as a profound heaven cultivator's defense wasn't something a chi condensation cultivator could pierce. The only danger to his life was posed by that savage moon. As such, Zhuo Fan had his complete focus. Lei Yuding charged the lightning with her eyes closed, ignoring everything, while Zhuo Fan flitted left and right. Elder Giant sneered, turning a blind eye to the girl. When she was near Elder Giant, Zhuo Fan flashed in front of her and attacked with Savage Moon. It was a simple thing for Giant Fan to grab Zhuo Fan's hand and snap it in two. Humph, don't think a petty diversion is enough to trick my eyes. I've lived far longer than you. Smoke and mirrors won't work on me. Giant Fan sneered. Yet, it still has. Zhuo Fan's smile remained. Suddenly, Elder Giant's heart was filled with unease. Before he could make clear as to why, a red light flew from Zhuo Fan into his body. From Zhuo Fan's broken arm, blood spurted out like a stream and dyed the trees red. Giant Fan watched Zhuo Fan with rage. It was you back then. He now knew what had entered his body not too long ago and allowed the three elders from Veiled Dragon Pavilion to use that chance and tear one of his arms. Zhuo Fan grinned. You're brave, I'll give you that, to rob me of my arm. Giant Fan gnashed his teeth. Once I get out of your demonic creature's control, I'll tear you to pieces. Elder Giant focused all his yuan qi into his body while talking. Zhuo Fan smiled, despite sensing the increasing pressure on Blood Infant. Elder Giant, you've been tricked yet again. Lightning crackled as Lei Yuding's fingers came from behind Zhuo Fan and struck Giant Fan's chest. Watching Zhuo Fan's eerie smile with doubt, Elder Giant's eyes bulged out from grievance and unwillingness to die like this. Elder Giant, you were wrong, I was the distraction. Zhuo Fan smiled despite the blood leaking from his mouth. You only paid attention to Savage Moon, but you forgot your wounded state. Weakened as you are now, you no longer have the same amount of yuan qi as before, ha ha ha. The fear in Elder Giant's eyes grew thick. Such a cunning and vicious youth. How horrifying. This was how the expert Giant Fan breathed his last breath. Zhuo Fan used himself as bait while leaving the final blow to Lei Yuding. Each step was filled with perils. The slightest mistake, the slightest hesitation would have meant death. Yet when Zhuo Fan was involved, everything they did was as if they were dancing to his tune, resulting in Elder Giant's ultimate demise. It was especially so when Zhuo Fan blocked Elder Giant from noticing the real danger hiding behind him, Lei Yuding's lightning fingers. Two Qi condensation juniors killing a profound heaven expert. If anyone spoke of this, none would believe it. Plop, Zhuo Fan collapsed in his own blood. Lei Yuding was crying in despair when she saw this. She thought Zhuo Fan wanted her to act as bait, but it exceeded her expectations when he took the most dangerous role onto himself. All kinds of emotions swept her heart, pain, warmth, and even something Yang Ming never managed to stir. Zhuo Fan, forgive me. Lei Yuding kneeled at his side, watching his pale face. Zhuo Fan waved, this isn't your fault. When Blood Infant was wounded, I also suffered internal injuries. He recalled Blood Infant from Elder Giant's corpse. This time, it'll take a lot more time to heal. His wounds mattered little when compared to Blood Infant's, which represented his life. This only worked to increase Lei Yuding's flow of tears. She now knew that the demonic creature wasn't a treasure, but something bound to his life. Yet even in such a perilous state, he chose to take a life-threatening hit for her. She began to see Zhuo Fan with different eyes, but Zhuo Fan himself couldn't care less. Zhuo Fan pointed at Giant Fan, search him. A Hell Valley elder has to have valuable things on him. All right, Lei Yuding used her highly dexterous hands to complete this task with such skill that Zhuo Fan couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. A bandit sure is skilled. Once Giant Fan was picked clean, Lei Yuding returned to Zhuo Fan. In her entire life, this was the first time she ever lowered her head in shame from doing something so unbecoming of her. But he couldn't care less about the reason why she was hiding her face. As she strewed the things before Zhuo Fan, she kept avoiding his eyes. Zhuo Fan found it odd but didn't care and started to rummage through Elder Giant's stuff. The first and foremost thing that caught his eye was the storage ring, and soon found what he was looking for inside. A light flashed and 2 jade slips appeared in his hand, Lei Clan's spiritual ranked martial art, Lightning Finger, and Kai Clan's martial art, Wind Kick. He was clueless as to the secret involving the 3 clans' martial arts but did not hesitate in taking them into his own ring. What was left were some cultivation methods, martial arts, and spirit stones. Zhuo Fan, as a former demonic emperor, couldn't care less about those and threw the ring to Lei Yuding. According to Bandit's rule, half belongs to you. Lei Yuding shook her head. The old man was your kill. They are yours. I don't want them. He has nothing of value. Zhuo Fan smiled and turned his eyes to a bag. It was only as big as a palm, but Zhuo Fan knew of its remarkable quality. It was a bag that could store living creatures, and what laid within was none other than the soul-devouring crow. Stashing it in his chest, Zhuo Fan smiled pleasantly. It held the largest interest to him. Who knew, he might even discover the secret of the purple lightning gold eye. Zhuo Fan, at least take the ring. Lei Yuding was shocked at the ring's contents and still decided to give it to Zhuo Fan. I know Luo clan is wealthy, but there are some spirit-ranked martial arts and cultivation methods inside which are of far greater value than mere spirit stones. It will provide great help in restoring your clan. Zhuo Fan shrugged as he weighed the ring. Such trashy things I have in heaps. There's nothing rare or great about them. If you don't want it, I'll just throw it. He was about to do just that when Lei Yuding took the ring from his hand. How can you be such a wastrel to not even want spirit-ranked martial arts? How did you manage to become a steward anyway? With how you act, Luo clan's money will get flushed down the drain. Zhuo Fan smiled as he put Giant Fan's corpse into his ring. Time to head back. Veiled Dragon Pavilion has some explaining to do. Lei Yuding nodded and rushed to support him. As Zhuo Fan was far too weakened, he could only lean onto her shoulder, tinting her cheeks red in the process. Wait, Zhuo Fan stopped to look around. Where's Yang Ming? Lei Yuding looked everywhere, but there was no sight of Yang Ming. They forgot about him in the heat of the battle. Curses, he got away. Lei Yuding gnashed her teeth. Zhuo Fan shook his head. No need to bother with an insect. But then he recalled his disciple, Zhao Chen, and killing intent flashed in his eyes. But even insects can spell trouble. The next time I see him, he's dead. The sun's warm rays shone from the east as Long Jai and Long Kui led hundreds of Veiled Dragon Pavilion guards back to the branch. Even tiredness couldn't hide the prideful air they carried themselves with. Not only did they win the battle with Hell Valley, but did it spectacularly. Long Jiu, with 3rd and 5th elders, stood at the gates watching their return with negligible casualties. Uncles, Long Jai and Long Kui bowed with a smile. The 3 elders were pleased. Little Kui, Ajai, how was your fight? Long Kui was the first to report. As the uncles predicted, after you chased the elders from Hell Valley, a large force came to attack us only to be defeated by us. Barely a scant few bone-tempering cultivators escaped. Well done, Long Jiu shouted his approval. Your improvement has been great lately. Magnificent for you to not only lead your own team, but to also wipe out the enemy. third brother, when you return to the estate, make sure to report the two's merit to Pavilion Lord. Ha ha ha, Longju's laughter shook the air as if he was relieved of the past year's pressure. RD Elder stroked his beard with a smile. This huge merit the two achieved for Veiled Dragon Pavilion was the first in their lives. Such accomplishment was always followed by a sense of honor and pride. Oh right, RD Elder furrowed his brow. Do you know what was the cause of that tremendous explosion last night? Long Jai and Long Kui were also puzzled. That sound shook the world, and I thought it was from Third Elder's fight with Hell Valley's elders, wasn't it? Long Kui asked. The three elders' expression turned grave as they shook their heads. The explosion shook the hearts of everyone last night, instantly becoming a mystery as to what caused it. Oh, didn't the Luo clan stay hidden in their small courtyard all this time? Let's go ask them. Longju slapped his head as he turned to Third Elder. Nodding, Third Elder walked in the small courtyard's direction, followed by the others. Long Kui smirked. The battle must have been so brutal last night that a tiny clan like them were scared to even poke their heads. They probably hadn't seen anything. None spoke while Long Jai shook his head. They clearly approved of her stance, as they were only going there to ask for clues. When they arrived before the guest room of the small courtyard, they saw Luo clan's members standing before Zhuo Fan's door with worried faces. With them were 3 more people, and one among them was in the profound heaven stage. It can't be that. Yesterday was because... The 3 elders were startled, hurrying to pay their respects to Lei Yunshin. May I inquire brother's name? Longju looked at him while being confused. When did Luo clan get an expert? Lei Yunshin returned the gesture as he knew of Veiled Dragon Pavilion's might. I am Lei Yunshin from Blackwind Mountain. It's an honor to meet the famous Veiled Dragon Pavilion. I am fortunate to come face to face with elders. Longju nodded. Having stayed in Wingay City for so long, he knew the city had many clans with different power levels. But only the recently established Sun Clan, along with the previous Luo clan, Kai Clan, and Blackwind Mountain's Lei Clan were first-rated clans. Of course, this applied to a small town like Wingay City, not including the 7 houses. As the Lei Clan now had a profound heaven expert, the Blackwind Mountain's influence would expand like never before. Despite how Bone-Tempering Stage and Profound Heaven Stage were but a stage apart, the fact that a clan had a Profound Heaven expert as overseer, it now became a second-rate clan on this continent. Those that lacked such power were mere third-rate or fallen clans. Lei Clan can now be considered as the most outstanding clan in Wingay City. Clan head Lei, I wonder what are you? Longju roamed his eyes over the people gathered before Zhuo Fan's room. Lei Yunshin sighed. Steward Zhuo was hurt last night and is unclear if he will survive. What, this place was under attack too? RD Elder was shocked. He thought that Long Jai and Long Kui had blocked all Hell Valley's men last night, but it seemed that wasn't the case. Did they prepare 2 teams? Humph. A sudden snort of disdain came from behind. Wasn't Zhuo Fan always acting so high and mighty? Didn't he boast he'd surpassed the 7 houses in 10 years? So useless to only end up on his deathbed from a bunch of thieves. Luo clan and Lei clan all glared at the speaker, but Long Kui just rolled her eyes. Quiet little Kui. Longju shot her a glare, and Long Kui was forced to remain silent. Looking apologetic toward Lei Yunshin, Longju spoke. Please excuse her rash behavior. Just who could it be powerful enough to injure Zhuo Fan to such a state, even with a profound heaven expert such as yourself protecting him? What, me protecting him? Lei Yunshin was taken aback, but then shook his head. I am ashamed to say that I only advanced last night and still lack the power to defend Steward Zhuo. To others, Lei Yunshin was the strongest here, and it was natural for him to protect everyone. But only he was the clearest as to who protected who last night. But the enemy was a profound heaven expert that called himself Elder Yun. What, you youngking? RD Elder and Longju were startled as the former muttered, I never thought that he'd also come. But then he turned with joy at Lei Yunshin. Brother Lei, you're amazing. That man was one of Hell Valley's 12 elders, having entered the Profound Heaven stage for decades. Yet you just advanced to Profound Heaven stage and defeated him. Impressive indeed. The other 2 elders also showed their admiration. Lei Yunshin blushed and said with a cough, Third Elder is exaggerating. I couldn't even take a single blow from him. Then how did you all pass the night unharmed? Longju asked. Scratching his head, Lei Yunshin looked at Zhuo Fan's door. It's all thanks to Steward Zhuo. If not for him, everyone here would have undoubtedly perished. You're saying Zhuo Fan held you yunking back by himself all night? Everyone was stunned, Long Kui included. But he's just a chi condensation cultivator. Longju refuted. Lei Yunshin shrugged at a loss. I am clear on that, but so what? The last words choked Longju. Lei Yunshin said it as if it was a common occurrence for a chi condensation cultivator to fight off a profound heaven cultivator for an entire night. And RD Elder clenched his fists, staring at Lei Yunchen. You mean to tell us Zhuo Fan forced Elder Yu Yunqing into retreating? Retreat, frowning, Lei Yunchen showed a trace of fear as he relived the last night's events. You are underestimating Zhuo Fan far too much. Underestimate. How, even if one scoured the continent, would he ever find an instance where a chi condensation cultivator forced a profound heaven expert into retreating? We only made the most reasonable guess, yet even this is such a far-fetched exaggeration that not even Zhuo Fan would believe. If not for you mentioning it, we'd have never conceived such ideas. The three elders swallowed dryly, with hearts in their throat. The fool didn't even have time to flee, killed in one move by Zhuo Fan, Lei Yunchen sighed. What? The elders were overwhelmed with shock. This was unprecedented. Long Kui and Long Jai were also dumbfounded. Long Jiu's hands began to shiver without his knowledge. Are you saying Zhuo Fan was behind the huge explosion last night? He killed a Hell Valley's profound heaven elder and got out with a light wound. Lei Yunchen saw their eager expressions and wanted to nod, but frowned instead with a shake of his head. What was it then? Long Jiu was anxious and his aura leaked, forcing the others to take a few steps back. Lei Yunchen sighed. I told you not to underestimate the kid. He killed Hell Valley's elder, but not at the cost of injury. Only his yuan qi was depleted. That's impossible. He came out unscathed. Long Jiu was battered with one shock after another that even he didn't know what he was saying. But then how did he get hurt? Bam. A pale-faced Zhuo Fan slammed the door open and snapped at Long Jiu. Isn't it because of you, bro Jiu? Zhuo Fan. Some were shocked, some were glad, some were amazed, but most were filled with doubts as they turned to him. Are you all right? Luo Yunqing was worried. All right, my ass, Zhuo Fan snorted as he glared at everyone who was present. Here I am trying to keep my life and you people had to yap on and on. You think one can get well like this? They all started getting embarrassed and lowered their heads. Only the three elders looked at him at a loss. Zhuo Fan secretly snorted. Bro Jiu, didn't you want to know how I got hurt? It's all because of him. Zhuo Fan took out a cold corpse, shocking them all. The ones most shocked were, of course, the three elders. Condor Jian Fan. The fear in Jian Fan's eyes hadn't dissipated even after his death and was clearly visible for everyone as they looked at his corpse that laid stiff on the ground. What manner of death could have evoked such expression from a monster who roamed the continent unhindered? How Condor Jian Fan is actually dead. Who killed him? Long Jiu was unnerved and stammered. Zhuo Fan sneered. Is there a need to ask when I was the one who took out his corpse? They all looked at Zhuo Fan with a stranger's eyes. Each guessed as such, but none dared to believe it. This monster had even escaped the Veiled Dragon Pavilion's three elders' joint attack. I knew that there was a deep grudge between him and Bro Jiu. Since I chanced upon him, I killed him. Flicking off imaginary dust from himself, Zhuo Fan smiled. Bro Jiu, please don't take offense from meddling in your affairs. How can I? Long Jiu panted and was staring at the corpse with bloodshot eyes. This monster ruined my eye and my future. I can hardly contain myself from drinking his blood and feasting on his flesh. How can I blame you for taking revenge in my stead? Brother Zhuo. Suddenly Long Jiu cupped his hands. From this day forth, I shall treat you as a sworn brother. As long as you're in my domain, you just need to ask and I'll do it. Sigh, Bro Jiu is too courteous. I barely did anything. Zhuo Fan dismissed him with a wave, but that little movement stirred his wound and winced. Long Jiu appeared next to him in a flash. Don't move, brother. Here are some recovery pills. In 3 days you'll be up and about. Long Jiu took out a few small bottles and placed them in Zhuo Fan's hand. With how caring Long Jiu was, the other elders stared at Zhuo Fan in amazement. Long Kui pouted, feeling her heart dumped in vinegar. They just wiped out Hell Valley's men and earned great merit that even the three elders were overjoyed, yet it paled in comparison with Zhuo Fan, who killed 2 of Hell Valley's elders. Humph, who knows what trick he pulled to get so lucky and snatch their heads. How could a chi condensation cultivator ever kill a profound heaven expert? Long Kui muttered in jealousy, but everyone heard her. RD Elder glared but then shook his head. Yet Zhuo Fan laughed. It is true that it was by luck that I encountered the one-armed elder and got his head, bad luck in fact. Because I had just then killed a profound heaven expert and was out of yuan qi, but this also made him underestimate me. How else could I have killed the wounded elder Jian? If it were any other time, wouldn't the elder kill me with but a wave of his hand? Sigh, last night I had the worst luck. Unlike some people who only had to lead their men to ensure their safety, Zhuo Fan sighed as Long Kui's face flushed red. You, Lei Yuding giggled. She was clear on what happened last night. Zhuo Fan was indeed amazing, forcing the elder to act as he wanted. But amazing as he was, such an instance wasn't going to repeat itself every time. Zhuo Fan said that just to spite Long Kui. I am better and stronger than you. My merit is also greater, all coming from one well-placed hit, while you can only yap your mouth. The three elders laughed as they shook their heads. They knew that Zhuo Fan succeeded in bringing down a profound heaven expert only through special means, and not like how he bragged about killing because he met him. But the fact remained, him killing two such experts in a single night shook the elder's core. Old Zhu, take care of Brother Zhu's wound. We will also add a few hundred guards around the premises while I and Brother Wu report back to the estate. We must notify Pavilion Lord. Long Zhu nodded while Long Kui and Long Jai froze. Why even third elder is calling Zhuo Fan brother? Zhuo Fan adapted to the change on the spot. Bro San, Bro Wu, take care. Stumbling, third and fifth elders shook their heads in dismay. Old Zhu was right, this kid's greatest talent is to read hearts. After they left, Long Zhu and the others helped Zhuo Fan back to his room. Long Jai and Long Kui left to handle the additional security of the small courtyard. In bed, Zhuo Fan eased his breathing and asked, "Everyone leave, I have to talk with Bro Zhu alone." As the people left, Long Zhu was wondering what could Zhuo Fan want to know so urgently. "Bro Zhu, I have a gift for you." "Gift?" Long Zhu only laughed. "Brother, I'm not trying to discourage you, but the Luo clan hasn't got anything I could take interest in. Or is it that you have another ancient array?" Zhuo Fan shook his head. "In your dreams, that array alone is worth 10 million at the minimum. Do you think they're easy to come by? But I'm pretty sure you're going to like this gift." Zhuo Fan took out a bag. Frowning, Long Zhu didn't understand until Zhuo Fan opened the bag and a crow landed on his shoulder. Giant Fan's soul-devouring crow? Correct. Ever since that old guy died, this crow has been without an owner. I'm sure Bro Zhu wouldn't need long to turn it into your spirit animal, always there to protect you. Long Zhu's eyes began to glisten. The title of Godai Long Zhu lost all its power ever since his eye was robbed. Now that he had the crow, it was as if he recovered his mystic eye. "Brother, thank you for your kind intention." Long Zhu's eye trembled from the heartfelt gratitude. Zhuo Fan continued, "Bro Zhu, there's just one thing I am unclear about. Since you trained one eye in purple lightning gold eye, why couldn't you do the same for the other?" "Sigh, brother, this mystic eye of mine was gained through a chance encounter. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." Long Zhu sighed, recalling his youth. This mystic eye wasn't cultivated through a cultivation method from Veiled Dragon Pavilion. It was something I found through luck. Long Zhu considered Zhuo Fan as one of his closest friends. Thus, he became the first listener to the secret Long Zhu had buried for such a long time. "Brother, do you know of the 3 danger zones on this continent?" After Zhuo Fan shook his head, Long Zhu smiled. "You can go anywhere you want across the continent, except for the 3 danger zones. Regardless of your strength, you'll find helpless against the dangers in there." Zhuo Fan nodded from how serious Long Zhu looked but didn't take the warning to heart. "The zones are Lightning Canyon, Ice Mountain, and Fire Pit." Long Zhu stared at Zhuo Fan in all seriousness, but then laughed in the end. "Never mind, even if you want to go, you still can't. Only if your luck is sky high will you enter one." "Why?" "Because these zones appear at random. Today they might be in the east and tomorrow in the west. Regardless of where they descend, it will cause a terrible tornado that draws in all who dared approach while also trapping them inside. That must be an array which an expert had deployed. If one didn't know how the array operated, they would have no hope of finding the entrance." Zhuo Fan asked, "Then how did you get out?" Long Zhu nodded with a deep look. "You're smart, brother." "Yes, in my youth I chanced upon the Lightning Canyon. At that time, the tornado swept me away and all I could see was a world of purple lightning. Every single expert there fell under the purple strikes. Just recalling it sends shivers down my spine. Then the oddest thing happened. The strike that was meant for me hit in my eye. While I was unharmed, all that I could feel from my eye was scorching heat." Zhuo Fan now understood. As it was stated in the 9 Serenities secret records regarding the Heavenly Emperor's purple lightning gold eye, everything was subjected to be destroyed under its gaze, all except the eye. This was why when the purple lightning struck Long Zhu's eye, he was unharmed. Perhaps because of my will to survive, I gave it my all in fighting for my life. I was aware of the purple lightning's power but still wanted to live. It was at that moment that a man's voice reached me. He was reciting some method, and I, in my confused state, mimicked his words. It shocked me in the end when my eye released purple lightning. It may have been because of the eye that the purple lightning no longer struck me. Finally, when the tornado passed, only I survived. But ever since I was robbed of my eye and because of the frantic situation when I gained it, I no longer recalled the words that man recited and had no way of forming another mystic eye. Long Zhu sighed while Zhuo Fan nodded. Lightning Canyon was a remnant the Heavenly Emperor left behind and contained his cultivation method. I have to find it. If I add the 9 Serenities Emperor's legacy with Heavenly Emperors, with 2 of the 3 Ancient Emperors' legacy in my hands, none can contest me. I didn't reincarnate in vain. No one would ever imagine that a powerful Emperor stage expert would leave his remnant in the mortal world. Ha ha ha, Zhuo Fan wanted to cackle, but was sensible enough to refrain since Long Zhu was next to him. Their talk took the entire day. Once Zhuo Fan got hold of all the information that interested him, he walked Long Ju out, after which he entered seclusion for a month to heal. With Long Ju's recovery pills, he was back to full health in 10 days but was forced to spend the remaining time to patch up Blood Infant's precarious state. A month later, Zhuo Fan came out of his room stretching his limbs and enjoying the fresh air. Moreover, just a few days ago, he and Blood Infant entered the 5th layer of qi condensation. Just that it was a pity one of the 2 elders from Hell Valley died for naught. He truly hoped he could absorb the elder's yuan qi at the time. With it, he'd be in the bone-tempering stage by now. Ah, Steward Zhuo, Zio Qi shrieked in joy seeing him, but then bolted. Zhuo Fan was stumped, feeling his face unconsciously. Did something change about me? Why did she run as soon as she saw me? What's so scary about me? I'm not a man-eating monster. But he soon had it all figured out. I must have been too rough on her when I ripped their clothes that time, and this girl is now afraid of me. The same as how Luo Yunhai was before. Zhuo Fan snickered. I was kinda too hard on both the kids. Brother Zhuo, are you feeling better? This time it was the uncouth Captain Pang. Old Pang, Captain Pang, was the only one he admitted being his friend since he reincarnated. Zhuo Fan started to miss him after not seeing each other for a month. However, just as Captain Pang was about to give him a friendly hug, his face changed and away he ran. This time Zhuo Fan was floored. Forget that last Zio Qi, why is even old Pang avoiding me like a plague? Zhuo Fan frowned, unable to get to the bottom of it. He was expert in reading people's intentions in negotiations and fights, but that was because he was convinced every man's actions were motivated by benefit. Yet old Pang's behavior had him stumped. I've done nothing to hurt him, and he shouldn't have a reason for being scared of me. Then what's the deal with him running away? Zhuo Fan shook his head in puzzlement, but he wasn't in the mood to find out the reason. A man such as Demonic Emperor was a man of great action, not bothered by petty affairs. When he was about to leave, Lei Yuding appeared in his sight with a lunch box and Zio Qi running behind her. Her cute body hid behind Lei Yuding, peeking her small head to gaze at Zhuo Fan. What are you up to? Zhuo Fan stood in place, puzzled. Lei Yuding walked with unsure steps, unlike the usual decisive nature she carried herself with. When she looked at Zhuo Fan, her cheeks were rosy. Steward Zhuo, thank you for saving me. Please accept this small token of appreciation. Zhuo Fan eyed the lunchbox with suspicion as he eased the lid open. A wonderful smell swept him when the intricately made dishes prepared from the heart were in the open. What a wonderful smell, Zhuo Fan asked. Where did you buy them from? Did Wingay City have such a great restaurant? Humph, they weren't bought. Zio Qi jumped out with a smile. Young Miss spent 10 hours each day making them and waited for Steward Zhuo to come out of seclusion to try them out. Every day, Zhuo Fan now unraveled the mystery of Zio Qi running at the sight of him. It was to notify Lei Yuding. Not knowing when he'd come out, Lei Yuding cooked for him every day. Her perseverance moved him. Nodding, Zhuo Fan spoke, I accept your gift. Lei Yuding cupped her blushing face and whispered, Steward Zhuo just got well and needs to take care of his body. Hurry and eat before it gets cold. Right, Zhuo Fan returned to his room with the lunch box. Even though he was in the qi condensation stage, not eating for a month made him hungry. Lei Yuding with Zio Qi in tow followed him in. Her eyes shined like the sun, soft yet warm enough to melt a glacier. When Zhuo Fan was about to dig in, Luo Yuncheng's charming figure entered the room with a knock. Captain Pang followed behind her. Quirking an eyebrow, Zhuo Fan saw her carrying a lunch box too. Oh, I didn't know Steward Zhuo already had someone bringing him breakfast. I was worried for nothing. When she saw the lunch box in front Zhuo Fan, Luo Yuncheng's smile widened, but her eyes became sharp as if they were about to poke holes into everyone present. What got her in such a foul mood this morning? Zhuo Fan flickered his brow in confusion, but when he picked up on Captain Pang's pitying glance, it got him baffled. Bam. Luo Yuncheng slammed the box in front of Zhuo Fan while squeezing a smile. Steward Zhuo, this is something I made for you to help in your recovery. I already have a share. I'm not a glutton to eat so much. Zhuo Fan shrugged, planning on pushing aside Luo Yuncheng's box, but then he sensed killing intent. He caught Luo Yuncheng's eyes glaring at him. I'll try both of them. Zhuo Fan flinched for the first time in his life. He didn't understand what the fuss was about, but knew that if he hadn't said that, there would have been a real danger to his life. Revealing Luo Yuncheng's dishes, he found them scorched black, cutting most of his appetite. I think I'll eat this one. Zhuo Fan went for Lei Yuding's box as she showed a bright smile. But even before his hand reached it, Luo Yuncheng bumped her box closer to him with a glare. Didn't you say you'll eat them both? Zhuo Fan's brow flickered, hesitation setting in as he took another long look at Luo Yuncheng's burnt dishes. But he could hardly refuse her sincere eyes and nodded. All right, I'll eat them. Luo Yuncheng broke out into a wide smile to which Lei Yuding was showing disdain. Mine first, Luo Yuncheng urged. No, mine, Lei Yuding said in haste. The two women's eyes met and sparks seemed to fly. Zhuo Fan wondered, weren't they close? Why are they fighting all of a sudden? He couldn't comprehend what could bring such a change in them. First come, first served. Zhuo Fan then took a bite out of Lei Yuding's dishes. She was staring at him with wide and expectant eyes. Zhuo Fan gave a thumbs up, delicious. Lei Yuding's smile bloomed like a flower while Zhao Kui pushed out her chin and shouted, my young miss started cooking since she was 10. No one in Wingay City can match her skill. You are fortunate today, Steward Zhuo. Zhao Kui's boast embarrassed Lei Yuding, but even that couldn't take away the radiant smile from her face. Luo Yuncheng pouted, Zhuo Fan, try mine. Zhuo Fan took a bite but spat it out as soon as it touched his tongue. Even poison is better. His words were sharp as he took Lei Yuding's box. I still choose this one. Lei Yuding was smiling, while Luo Yuncheng's eyes started tearing. Wow, such a great smell. At this time, Luo Yunhai shouted in surprise as he jumped into Zhuo Fan's room. Bro Zhuo, you're out, and you are having such a feast. Why didn't you invite me? Go and eat your sister's cooking. Zhuo Fan dissed him. Luo Yunhai complained, her skill isn't worth a dime. She doesn't know anything besides opening the kitchen door. Unable to stay there any longer, Luo Yuncheng ran out with her lunch box. But people could see the droplets she left behind on the floor. Was I wrong? Luo Yunhai was confused. Not at all. Zhuo Fan gorged on Lei Yuding's cooking as he said, but some people have low confidence. After finishing his meal, Zhuo Fan informed the others before leaving, stay here as Hell Valley's people might still lurk around. I'm going to pay Veiled Dragon Pavilion a visit. Luo Yunhai and Captain Pang nodded, then turned to Lei Yuding. Seeing her all flushed, Zhao Kui was even more excited. How great, young Miss Steward Zhu is interested in you. Lei Yuding only smiled. At the same time in the Imperial City, in a magnificent office, two people sat side by side. One man was in his 40s, dressed in a white silken robe. He had a small hanging mustache that shook with his smile. The other man was in his 50s, with a somber complexion and wearing a dark cloak. His pair of large eyes were filled with grievance. The two acted like strangers, not meeting each other's eyes. Cough, cough, cough. With a cough, a shaky body appeared before the two. It was an old man dressed in a golden robe embroidered with 9 dragons. Your Majesty, the men rose up and bowed. The elder waved for them to sit. Veiled Dragon Pavilion and Hell Valley both are from the 7 noble houses, the pillars of the empire. What matter has made you request an audience with me? This elder was the emperor of Tianyu Empire. Your Majesty, Veiled Dragon Pavilion killed 2 of our Hell Valley's elders last month, breaking the 7 houses agreement. Your Majesty, please punish the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. The black-robed man complained. Sneering, the middle-aged man spoke. You Wanshan, you have some nerve complaining first. Your Hell Valley's elder infringed upon my Veiled Dragon Pavilion's domain. How are you going to explain it? Who is it that broke the 7 houses agreement first? One of my valley's disciple, Yuquan, was killed in Wingay City. Can I send an elder to bring the matter to light? Yuanshan squinted. Long Yifi, you are just making an excuse to exact revenge for what happened 2 decades ago. Ha ha ha, and 20 years ago, you trapped Elder Jiu in Drifting Leaves City and ruined his mystic eye. You accused him of entering your domain and breaching the 7 houses agreement. I didn't object. This time, however, it is your elder who entered mine, and not just 1 but 4. Is this what you call investigation? Enough. The Emperor's cold shout came as his eyes flashed in anger. Both sides are in violation. This is my judgment. Veiled Dragon Pavilion shall withdraw from Wingay City. It is no longer part of your domain. Hell Valley and Veiled Dragon Pavilion's people are never to set foot in the city ever again. Your Majesty, the two cupped their fists, but the Emperor flicked his sleeve. This matter is settled. Withdraw. I no longer want to hear anything about the 7 houses, nor about internal disputes. Understood. None of them was willing to accept this conclusion, but retreated nonetheless. When they were gone, the Emperor's eyes flashed. For Hell Valley's people to enter Wingay City, they must be privy to the 1,000-year-old secret. The Imperial City has always been a place of conflict, filled with the eyes and ears of every faction. This should be known to your Majesty. An aged voice replied from behind. The Emperor chuckled. It seems. The plan has begun. Pearls will always shine, hee. Since the Veiled Dragon Pavilion's grand gate was but a few hundred steps away, Zhuo Fan chose to walk. However, he stopped before passing through it. In front of the gate was a yellow palanquin with 4 peak chi condensation cultivators as carriers and 16 bone tempering cultivators surrounding it. A fat figure in yellow stood in front of the palanquin. You could barely make out his pin-sized eyes from his bulging cheeks. At first glance, one would take him as having a bun in place of his head. Zhuo Fan shook his head. He'd seen his fair share of people, but this was his first encountering such a fatso. How can one get so fat? Zhuo Fan resumed his gait, glancing at the fatty from time to time. His appearance was far from attractive, but his seventh chi condensation cultivation and the large number of guards was nothing to scoff. If the fatty was from Veiled Dragon Pavilion, he'd have gone in by now. Wait, Zhuo Fan's entry was stopped by a sudden shout. Turning around, he caught the sight of Fatty's feet sinking into the ground with each step towards him. Zhuo Fan's cheeks started twitching. Do you need something? He, are you from Veiled Dragon Pavilion? The fatty smiled. It would have been better if he hadn't, as his eyes were now gone for good. Zhuo Fan was shocked by such a baffling appearance for a moment. I'm just a guest. That means you can also enter. The fatty showed a warm smile. Can I ask brother's help with a small matter? Please send word to young Miss Long Kui. She hasn't come out for a whole day and I had to sleep outside. This weird fatty is pursuing Long Kui. Zhuo Fan wanted to laugh, but he couldn't, not when there were so many people around. To think that haughty Long Kui knows this fellow. Setting aside his status, his weight alone would make her awkward if someone caught them together. All right, I will tell her right away. Zhuo Fan struggled not to laugh as the fatty cupped his hands in gratitude. I'll leave it to brother. Zhuo Fan hastened his pace in fear of laughing if he spent one more moment with this guy. It wasn't worth it offending a great faction for such a reason. He soon arrived at the meeting room and met Long Kui. Miss Kui, long time no see. How have you been? Great, until you showed up. Long Kui snorted. Zhuo Fan didn't mind it. Where's Bro Jiu? I want to speak with him. Out, Long Kui rolled her eyes. Zhuo Fan read her face and found that she didn't lie. Since he didn't see Long Jai either, it meant that he must be with Long Jiu on business. This would put a delay on the things he wanted to know, but he still had that fatty's message to deliver. To get that guy's gratitude and support, all I have to do is make this smug girl see him. What's the harm in passing the time while embarrassing this missy while I'm at it? Zhuo Fan showed a wide grin. What's with you? Long Kui frowned. Oh, nothing. There's a rich, handsome guy outside who wants to talk to you. Hurry up and see him before he's gone. Hey, Miss Long, who's he? Zhuo Fan elbowed her with raised eyebrows. Long Kui knew Zhuo Fan was making fun of her and got angry. Ignoring him, she walked to the gates with Zhuo Fan laughing behind her. Damn fatty, haven't I rejected your marriage proposal already? What are you still doing here? The fatty's smile fell. Sister Long Kui, that happened when I was 10, now I'm 20. Don't you feel anything after I proposed 1,000 times these past 10 years? Of course I have annoyance. Zhuo Fan butted in at this point, patting the fatty's shoulder as he looked at Long Kui. Miss Long Kui, such tender and strong love are rare these days. My dear friend is so smitten by you that he even slept outside waiting for you. The last words almost made Zhuo Fan burst in laughter. The fatty was so touched that the thick sarcasm flew right past him. Long Kui saw them working in unison, one explaining while the other agreeing, and felt her anger peaking. But for some reason, she changed to a charming smile. Even Zhuo Fan blanked out from seeing her smile like this for the first time, and there was no need to mention the drooling fatty. Long Kui felt sick inside but still maintained her composure. Brother Kong, you've always treated me so well ever since we were little. But my heart belongs to another. What, who's the punk? The fatty's face changed and his eyes spat fire. Zhuo Fan thought, oh, she isn't planning on dragging me into this, is she? Yet Long Kui turned to him with an enigmatic smile. Oh hell, Zhuo Fan didn't know which faction the fatty belonged to, but one thing was clear, he wasn't to be provoked. Zhuo Fan already had Hell Valley as his enemy, and messing with another faction just as strong, if not stronger, than even demonic emperor would have a hard time turning disaster into an opportunity. I was wondering why you are able to enter Veiled Dragon Pavilion like you own the place. It was because you and Long Kui are. The fatty grabbed Zhuo Fan's collar and glared. Zhuo Fan denied, brother, it's all just a misunderstanding. However, the fatty's eyes were red from anger and blinded to reason. There were two things any man would go berserk from, having his father killed and wife stolen. But the latter caused way more outrage than the former. Feeling as if he was wearing such a hat with no rhyme or reason turned this misunderstanding into a conflict. Zhuo Fan sighed. Now I have to ask Long Jiu to explain in order to avoid offending another power. He was pondering on how to do it when he was floored by Fatty's next words. Sister Kui, what do you not like about me? Does this punk have something that I don't? Zhuo Fan almost spat blood, watching the fatty in a daze. Brother, now I know why you proposed 1,000 times. Cocky people, he has seen aplenty, but this was Zhuo Fan's first time meeting one as oblivious about himself as this guy. Watching the fatty who could burrow the earth just by standing, Zhuo Fan wanted to shout, brother, it's more like you pack something way extra than me. Even Long Kui was silently rolling her eyes. Brother Kong, there must be some other reason for you to be here. You do not have the luxury of leaving the imperial capital as you wish. Take care of your matters and stop wasting time. That is out of the question. You are my future wife. I even applied for this task just to see you. Yet, then the fatty glared at Zhuo Fan. Let's duel, he pointed at Zhuo Fan's nose as he raged. We will duel today to settle Sister Kui's groom. Zhuo Fan took a closer look at the fatty, secretly admiring him. This kid is the first who didn't shout out his glorious clan's name before me. Just from this, Zhuo Fan liked him. Hearing the fatty request a duel, one of his guards stepped forward. Young master, your body is too precious to participate in duels. It's best if you let me handle him. Quiet, the fatty interrupted the guard. It is I who want to marry Sister Kui. My honor and dignity as a man are on the line. If you fight, I'll be mocked forever, and Sister Kui will despise me even more. I will never ever approve of you. Long Kui rolled her eyes. Zhuo Fan agreed with a grin. Well said, I accept. However, all your guards are stronger than me, and I can't take even a single hit from them if they interfere. If I say we will duel, then it will be one-on-one. My word is gold, you don't believe me. The fatty was even angrier now. Zhuo Fan shook his head. I do believe you, but if I defeat you, can they hold themselves from not jumping in? At that point, even if you order them not to, it won't do much good. It was unknown if the fatty was pondering or fuming since his eyes disappeared when he squinted, but then he barked at the guards, all of you stay put. If anyone has the nerve to move, I'll kill him. Then he turned to Zhuo Fan, pick a location where we won't be disturbed. Zhuo Fan smiled while Long Kui frowned and blocked him. You truly intend to fight. If he gets hurt, even Veiled Dragon Pavilion can't help you. He just nodded. This fatty isn't bad. Long Kui was stunned. When the fatty saw them stick together, his heart was aflame from rage, panting with each word. He declared, Punk, you'll see. I will mop the floor with you. Zhuo Fan smiled, not minding it in the least. Zhuo Fan took the fatty to a remote place in the woods. Since Long Kui was afraid of mishaps, she also went along, but Zhuo Fan already had blood infant keep an eye out. At least the fatty's order worked like a charm and the guards stayed behind. Zhuo Fan clapped, Fatty, I praise you for not using the guards. Humph, I am always true to my word. This is related to me and Sister Kui's happy marriage. I will have to beat you, pesky puck, so thorough you can't contest my victory, or who knows what excuse you'll use later to pester Sister Kui. The fatty jutted out his chin. Smiling, Zhuo Fan showed his vicious side. Aren't you worried I laid an ambush? The fatty frowned. His pin-sized eyes scoured his surroundings as he roared, Humph, I am willing to venture alone against any adversity, but if you think Sister Kui will look kindly to such a despicable punk, think again. No matter what you have in store, I will never lose. Ha ha ha, enough with the heroism. Kid, I like you. It's time we get this duel started. Zhuo Fan smiled, yet even before he finished, a punch came his way. Zhuo Fan rushed to dodge, but he was too late to react. His body flew and his right cheek was now red and swollen. Hey Fatso, I thought you were an honorable man. Zhuo Fan snapped at the nonchalant fatty who replied, Didn't you just give start to the duel? All is fair in love and war. Zhuo Fan took a long look at him and secretly nodded. This kid is more cunning than he lets on, yet he conducts himself with honor. He is as honest as old Pang, but that is where the similarities end. Compared to the simple old Pang, Zhuo Fan liked the shrewd fatty more. A demonic cultivator would use any means to reach his goal. This fatty who bent the limits of morality was more to Zhuo Fan's liking. Ha ha ha, you're right, Zhuo Fan cackled and pointed at Long Kui. Fatty, look, Long Kui is undressing. The fatty could spot a lie when he heard one, but he still bought it this time and turned towards Long Kui's direction. Bam, Zhuo Fan used this chance to kick the fatty into the air. Bastard! Long Kui fumed at the sideline with a red face, yet the culprit didn't mind it in the least when her glare focused on him. Wretched punk, you dared sully Sister Kui's honor. I will show you. The fatty wobbled as he got to his feet, but his eyes burned hotter than ever. Zhuo Fan dissed him. I was just messing around, yet you looked anyway. Weren't you also thinking something shameful about our young Miss Long? The fatty gasped. Never had he heard this kind of counter before. Zhuo Fan might have disrespected Long Kui, but didn't he himself sully his goddess by imagining something inappropriate? If so, did he have the right to blame Zhuo Fan? Fatty's resentment was gone just like that, and he even felt ashamed. But once he imagined Long Kui changing clothes, his face went betrayed. His small eyes were perfect in hiding his secret stare over Long Kui's enticing figure, but she found him out nonetheless and stared him down with killing intent. When a shiver crawled up his spine, the fatty focused on the fight. Punk, I will let this matter slide. Time to get serious. The fatty's body gave out a golden shine and even the ground started cracking around him. High mortal ranked martial art, mountain shaking punch. The fatty darted towards Zhuo Fan like a raging bull, cracking each and every stone he set his foot on. Punk, better dodge, but if you do, admit your loss. Grinning, Zhuo Fan extended a red palm, not intimidated in the least. The fatty raved, Damn punk, this will be your funeral. I am at the 7th layer of chi condensation and using a high-ranked martial art. This is not a move which a 5th layer chi condensation punk can withstand. If you treasure your life, dodge, but Zhuo Fan didn't budge. The fatty didn't wish for the worst outcome and wanted to hold back some of his power, but it was too late now. His flabby body was already upon Zhuo Fan. Boom, something strange happened. The weak-looking Zhuo Fan was still standing as a breeze ruffled his hair. The fatty, however, had his golden light scattered thanks to the red glow and was sent flying. He hit the ground in a daze, and even as he got up, he still couldn't shake his astonishment. How can this be? I am clearly stronger, so why was I the one who got pushed back? He needed a long time to recover from the shock. Long Kui scoffed. She didn't like Zhuo Fan one bit, but that didn't stop her from admiring his strength and ability. After all, he was the first on the continent to have killed 2 profound heaven expert while being a chi condensation cultivator. Arriving next to Fatty, Zhuo Fan offered his hand with a smile. Fatty, I know you went easy on me. The fatty sighed, a loss is a loss. Using all my power against someone weaker is the same as losing. I am an upright man. This is your win. Zhuo Fan turned serious. You might take it as being upright, but I see it as kindness. The fatty looked closer at Zhuo Fan. He was amazed this man found out his intention in that split second. I see now why Sister Kui likes you. The fatty praised him and took Zhuo Fan's hand. He went to Long Kui and sighed, Sister Kui, you've found a great man. This punk will turn into a monster one day. The fatty felt dejected, but a sudden sound broke the silence. Zhuo Fan squinted his eyes and pushed the fatty to the ground. A green light passed above them the next second, cutting all the trees in its path. The fatty looked up at Zhuo Fan with gratitude. Brother, thank you for saving me. I never thought that my love rival will become my savior. It's too early for thanks. Here they come, Zhuo Fan frowned as he helped the fatty up. Long Kui also ran next to them. A dozen men appeared around the 3 of them the next moment, each giving off the energy of a bone-tempering expert. What now? Long Kui's expression was grave as she looked at Zhuo Fan. With the Veiled Dragon Pavilion being even farther than the fatty's guards, the only one she could turn for help was the guy she disliked the most. But he was also the one most likely to pull off a miracle. The fatty strode out from between the 2 with confidence. It's me you're after, let them go. Hi, as a member of the imperial family you sure have the air of a king. But too bad we can't leave any witnesses. A man stood out from the group, he was their leader. The fatty was filled with hatred. Suddenly, Zhuo Fan kicked the fatty with a snicker. This fatty is under my care. If you want to kill him, you'll have to go through me first. The dozen men laughed. A mere chi condensation insect wants to act tough. Since they'll all die anyway, let's start with him. It's best we kill the fatty first and complete the mission. It was hard enough finding this opportunity after waiting for so long. We can't let it go to waste. As they were rambling on and on, the fatty whispered to Zhuo Fan, Brother, they're after me. I will run towards east while you take Sister Kui back to Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Zhuo Fan shook his head. With your speed, you won't even last 1 second. What other choice do we have? Asked the fatty flustered. Zhuo Fan hardened his tone and said, Slaughter them all. He took a step and reached their leader as Savage Moon flashed in his hand. Demonic treasure? The leader was shocked and wanted to dodge, but a red light entered his body and froze his movements. Whoosh, with a silver flash, a head trailed the sky followed by a fountain of blood. Only Zhuo Fan stood in the pool of blood with cruel eyes. For the first time in Fatty's life, his eyes bulged out from his chubby face, becoming larger than ever. The silence was deafening. Everyone watched slack-jawed at the unfolding event. No one there could have imagined a chi condensation kid blindsiding them, who were bone-tempering experts and even killing one in a single hit. All the mockery and disdain they had for Zhuo Fan was now replaced with extreme caution. Fatty was still out of it, staring at Zhuo Fan like his brain was on the fritz. It finally dawned upon him that it wasn't him who held back the most in their duel, but Zhuo Fan. Kill the punk first. With a sudden shout, the men charged at Zhuo Fan together. They were now of one mind, no longer of a different opinion. They had to kill this dreadful and sinister punk first. If they were to leave him for later, they were sure they'd have to pay a steep price, even if they outnumbered him. They had long forgotten their main objective and were now pointing their weapons at the punk who was holding Savage Moon and standing in a pool of blood. Smiling wryly, Zhuo Fan snickered, I wouldn't have it any other way. The next moment, he jumped at the first enemy. The man was startled and rushed to retreat. Even if Zhuo Fan was just in the chi condensation stage and unable to hurt him, the third-grade demonic treasure would cut through him like butter. Their leader got such a miserable death for underestimating Zhuo Fan, and he wasn't willing to make the same mistake. With eyes fixed on Savage Moon's trail, the killer grinned. He knew how to deal with Zhuo Fan. Since his speed was superior to Zhuo Fan, all he needed to do was pay attention to Savage Moon, and killing this kid would be a breeze. However, just as he was about to jump into action, Savage Moon flashed a silver glow. The light wrapped around Zhuo Fan and then streaked by the killer's body. The killer had no idea what happened and was looking up as his upper half slid to the ground while his lower half stood there unmoving. While he fell, he could still see Zhuo Fan's grim face, especially the eyes cold and unfeeling. Everyone sucked in a cold breath as they watched Zhuo Fan with dread. If one were to say that killing their leader was from a sneak attack, this time around it was a fair fight, and yet Zhuo Fan still killed a bone-tempering expert in an instant. When the silver light flashed again, he was so fast that none of the killers had time to react before Zhuo Fan felled another. Such horrifying speed, coupled with the sharp edge of the savage moon, soaked the backs of the killers in a cold sweat. As you dared to come look for trouble in my domain, Zhuo Fan squinted at each man around him and trailed a finger across his neck as his eyes turned red. Your lives are forfeited. At that moment, all of them paled and stepped back. The fear they felt from his eyes mounted the dread they already had. Their roles began to blur as it became unclear who was the victim and who was the killer. The hunter's and prey's role were now switched. The fatty watched Zhuo Fan's domineering gaze while being shell-shocked. Then he was swept by a sudden familiar feeling, the imposing and grand feeling he felt only from his father. But what he felt from Zhuo Fan was far more assertive, as if all who dared resist this man would find themselves dead beyond a shred of a doubt. The pressure Zhuo Fan's power released was something that even made him shiver. Seeing that they couldn't contend with Zhuo Fan individually, a killer shouted, "Don't be afraid, let's attack together. He's just a chi condensation punk relying on a third-grade demonic treasure. If we surround him, he's done for." The others nodded as fear eased from their faces. Now that they had a plan, they found hope. With a cry, the killers jumped at Zhuo Fan, closing the net on him. Sneering, Zhuo Fan rushed forward without fear as he held Savage Moon. His target swallowed dryly, but didn't retreat since he had men on each side releasing punch at Zhuo Fan. If Zhuo Fan pressed on, the killer would die, but so would Zhuo Fan under the joint attack of two bone-tempering experts. But if he retreated instead, it would only work to tighten the net, and his death would be just a matter of time. Zhuo Fan didn't plan on dying in this fight, or he would have fled a long time ago with the help of Savage Moon's speed boost. Whoosh! With a flash of silver, Zhuo Fan vanished from their sights and the punches hit nothing but air. Zhuo Fan then landed right in front of the killer who was standing behind the other two. Having not seen this coming, the killer was frightened, but soon became elated seeing that Zhuo Fan was not facing him. He didn't waste this chance and punched towards Zhuo Fan's defenseless back. "Your head is mine, kid." But a silver light flashed by and the man froze. In the moment of impending doom, Zhuo Fan swept Savage Moon around him and jumped from their tight circle. As for the man behind Zhuo Fan, he watched wide-eyed as his body hit the ground in two pieces, blood and guts spilling everywhere. Another one. Even under their joint efforts, Zhuo Fan came out unscathed and robbed them of another comrade. Fear in their eyes mounted higher and higher. They had some hope before, wishing to kill him with numbers, but that hope was now lost. What kind of freak is he? When did the 7 noble houses have such a person? A killer cursed as he felt his knees trembling. Secretly sneering, Zhuo Fan squinted his eyes and bathed the world with the killing intent they contained. These killers were rooted, they lost their nerve and were no longer a threat. Now was the perfect time to end them. Zhuo Fan rushed forth with a savage grin. Silver light flickered as Zhuo Fan brandished Savage Moon and sent limbs flying with each passing. The killers cried during their futile attempts to evade, having lost any and all will to resist. Zhuo Fan was like a wolf among sheep, taking his fill of slaughter and carnage. For the occasional spirited and still brave souls among them, Blood Infant would enter their body and seal their movements, thus priming them for Zhuo Fan, only to leave them mangled. If it was any other day, with Zhuo Fan's strength and Blood Infant's help, he could only fight with a single bone-tempering expert. If another joined, he'd have a hard time reacting to their attacks, let alone killing a dozen. But luck had it he got Savage Moon off Elder Yun, whom he killed a month ago. This gave him newfound confidence. Savage Moon was just as deadly as Blood Infant was on bone-tempering experts, perhaps even more, especially when taking its ability to increase one's speed into consideration. And all of this was added to Zhuo Fan, who already had the skills to skip stages. Now that he thought about it, he really ought to thank Hell Valley for throwing such a nice toy in his lap. Hearing the bone-tempering expert's miserable wails, watching heads and entrails flying about, the fatty remained lifeless from shock. He stood there witnessing the gruesome dance Zhuo Fan was performing with Savage Moon. For these killers to cry and beg for their lives was something unheard of. He could hardly believe that the man he recognized as a love rival, the man he challenged, was strong to this degree. Recalling their duel, it seemed more like a joke now. The bone-tempering experts were butchered like animals in front of the fatty, A seventh-layered chi condensation cultivator, dared to issue a challenge and still was lenient with him while preaching fairness. Sai Yuan Kong, your lenient act and fairness preaching was meaningless. The fatty shook his head, feeling mournful. He had seen many peers among the 7 houses who were geniuses, and even if he wasn't stronger than them, he believed their strength wasn't far from his. But Zhuo Fan showed him today what the saying, a man above man and a sky above a sky meant. Those geniuses were nothing but trash by comparison. Furthermore, the gap was so huge at such a young age. Long Kui covered her mouth, experiencing the greatest shock she ever felt. This was the first time she saw Zhuo Fan fighting. She had heard of him killing 2 profound heaven experts, but doubt still existed. This notion was far too outrageous for anyone to believe, but watching him fight today left this young miss stunned. The cruelty, the overbearing eyes, it was as if a demon had descended, one which was capable of scaring and overpowering even bone-tempering experts. Whoosh! When Zhuo Fan finally stopped, Savage Moon in his hand was dripping blood. The dry earth around him had become a wide pool of blood. A killer shivered as he watched the Savage Moons fall with dread. His legs were severed, but the pain wasn't registered as begging was all that was left on his mind. Not sparing him a glance, Zhuo Fan asked coldly, "Who sent you?" Zhuo Fan's eyes didn't reflect an ounce of pity towards any living creature in this world, only coldness. The killer looked around to see his dead brothers and fear swept his heart. He didn't know where to begin describing the savagery and cruelty of this youth before him. This youth was, in all sense of the word, a demon. The killer's heart was in shambles, but a sudden whistling sound was heard and the killer's eyes lost its light. Killing with intent, a radiant stage expert, Zhuo Fan drew a cold breath. His bottomless and cold eyes now showed a ripple of panic. The whistling sound was heard clearly by everyone, but none could afford to slack their guard. On the contrary, each felt their heart in their throat. A radiant stage expert was able to kill with divine intent alone. This was an enemy Zhuo Fan wouldn't be able to defeat even with Blood Infant and Savage Moon. An icy shiver traveled down his spine as Zhuo Fan turned more and more serious. Whoosh. The whistle stopped suddenly and a pair of steps echoed. Zhuo Fan and the other 2 forgot to breathe. Their eyes were fixed towards the sound's location. But when the person came out into the open, the fatty was stunned for a second before shouting, "Teacher, how come you're here?" Long Kui cried with joy, "Senior Fang, what brought you here?" Zhuo Fan saw the 2 recognizing the new entrant and began sizing him up. The man had a goatee and looked like he was in his 60s. He was dressed in a blue robe and had a sword strapped to his back. All this time he was smiling as the green jade flute revolved in his hand. The jade flute shocked Zhuo Fan. He remembered something and asked, "Are you one of the 5 divine dragons, the guardians of the imperial family, jade flute divine sword Fang Qiubai?" Zhuo Fan heard Longju mention that even if the imperial family could no longer control the 7 houses, they could still persevere, all thanks to the 5 divine dragons. Each was a peak radiant stage expert whom none of the 7 houses would dare mess with. Among them, there was a man known as the First Divine Sword, and he was Fang Qiubai, Jade Flute Divine Sword. He boasted himself as having united the sword and the flute as one, that his sword followed the sound and turned it into sword intent. One time, he single-handedly defeated 5 radiant stage experts with a sword strike, forcing the 7 houses to forget about testing him, while also spreading his name to the 4 corners of the world. The man raised an eyebrow and watched Zhuo Fan with a profound look before nodding. With laughter, Longju appeared before everyone. "Wasn't I right? This kid has sharp eyes. I only mentioned you once and he already recognized you." "Uncle Jiu," Long Q was overjoyed as she ran to him. "When did you and Senior Fang arrive? Why didn't you come out sooner?" "Ha ha ha, we've been here since Brother Zhu and the 3rd Prince's duel." Long Ju turned to Zhuo Fan. "Brother Zhu, you're quite something to keep a straight face against a dozen bone-tempering experts. When I was your age, I certainly lacked the courage you showed today. I truly admire you." Long Q pouted while casting a side glance towards Zhuo Fan. Seeing Zhuo Fan in action had her convinced, but admitting it was a whole nother matter. "Master, with you 2 seniors here, why didn't you act? You almost worried your student to death." Fatty clapped his fat chest. "It mattered little what happened to me, but what if Sister Qiui got hurt?" "Ha ha ha, and miss a good show?" Fang Qiubai laughed. Eyeing the calm and collected Zhuo Fan, "Moreover, I've never seen such a genius marvelous display before." "Senior, you're too kind." Zhuo Fan cupped his hands, but his face was stone cold. "I'm only curious. Why did Senior kill the last one?" "Is it?" Fang Qiubai squinted and his smile turned fake as he spoke in a frosty tone. "Youngster, you are exceptionally sharp, but your strength might turn this advantage into a flaw." Raising an eyebrow, Zhuo Fan laughed and cupped his hands. "Junior, thanks for Senior's lesson." Junior has already forgotten this encounter. Zhuo Fan picked up on Fang Qiubai's warning. He did not wield enough power to poke his nose in their conflict. The man had silenced the killer to protect him. Fang Qiubai took one more long look at him and his admiration grew. You're not only smart, but also know when to retreat. How rare. What a surprise, finding someone like you in the mortal world yet outside the 7 houses. If you weren't a demonic cultivator, something I am unsuited with, I would have wanted to teach you for 2 years and make your future limitless. Long Qiui and Fatty were shocked. Outsiders may not know who Fang Qiubai was, but the 7 houses were crystal clear on his character. Who among the heads of the 7 houses didn't want to have their child under his tutelage? But this old man was stubborn as a mule, not giving them any attention. Even if the emperor were to request him on behalf of his sons, he'd act no differently. He'd been teaching the fatty for 3 years because Fang Qiubai appreciated his strong will, yet the fatty barely learned a few moves. But it wasn't enough to accept him as a disciple. Yet the first time he laid eyes on Zhuo Fan, Fang Qiubai took the initiative to invite him. If the two had walked the same cultivation path, Zhuo Fan would have been Divine Sword's first disciple. Wherever he'd go, if any 7 houses' disciples saw him, they'd have to bow down to him. Long Zhu saw the 2 kids' shock and surmised their thoughts with a shake of his head. These kids are yet to reach our level. So they don't know the meaning of rare find. With Zhuo Fan's talent, any expert who saw him would want to take him as a disciple. Even if one was unrivaled in the world, to pass on his mantle, he needed to find the best disciple suited for his legacy. The greater the strength of the expert, the higher the expectation. But Zhuo Fan shook his head at this and even sneered. Forget about Fang Qiubai not accepting him because of cultivation path difference. Even if he could be accepted, he'd still refuse. As a demonic emperor, the only one worthy of him calling master was an emperor stage expert. Fang Qiubai was reluctant to let Zhuo Fan pass by him, but in the end he took Fatty and left. Long Zhu, 3rd prince, still has a task to complete, so I'm taking him with me. Fang Qiubai and Fatty disappeared the moment he finished. Wait, Fatty still wanted to say something to Long Qiui and Zhuo Fan, but it was too late. 1 second his anxious face was there and the next it was gone. So fast, Zhuo Fan was shocked, then he hardened his resolve. He had to reach Radiant Stage as soon as possible to guarantee his safety in his travels across the continent. Brother Zhuo. Long Zhu walked to Zhuo Fan with a solemn face. Come with me to Veiled Dragon Pavilion, there's something I have for you. Smiling wryly, Zhuo Fan nodded. He had anticipated this. 15 minutes later, Zhuo Fan and Long Zhu were in Veiled Dragon Pavilion's meeting room, and Long Zhu pushed an unwilling Long Qiui to guard the door outside. Long Zhu took out a sheepskin branded with 4 dragon marks. The first words that Zhuo Fan recognized were alliance agreement. Skimming through it, a pleasing smile bloomed on his face. This was what he aimed for from the start, an alliance between Veiled Dragon Pavilion and the Luo clan. Veiled Dragon Pavilion would not only become a support for the Luo clan, but would also provide resources without any conditions attached. If the agreement came into effect, he'd be worry-free from any outside attacks and would have the time to develop the Luo clan into a great power. Long Zhu was a bit astounded. Why do I feel like you knew this was coming? Zhuo Fan smiled. It had nothing to do with predicting, but planning. Once he settled on having Veiled Dragon Pavilion as an ally, he used the ancient array diagram to entice Long Zhu, then took advantage of Veiled Dragon Pavilion in sticking its neck out for him. But that wasn't an alliance, it was just the Luo clan seeking shelter. When faced with great danger, Veiled Dragon Pavilion would have kicked them out. To avoid the worst outcome, he and Veiled Dragon Pavilion fought side by side and even killed 2 profound heaven elders. He risked defending the Hell Valley to show the potential of the Luo clan. His aim was an alliance agreement of equals. If he were alone, he would have avoided showing off by fighting 2 profound heaven experts and amassed fortune instead. If Veiled Dragon Pavilion's pavilion lord was a man of vision, he'd choose alliance, because he would know that the alliance offered now was like fire in winter for the Luo clan. But if offered in the future, it would be more like decoration, one among many. As such, Zhuo Fan made a daring gambit. Gambling if the pavilion lord was a man of ambition who did not bother with trifles and willing to make an ally out of a fallen clan. Fortunately, he won. Of course, if he lost, then Zhuo Fan would cross Veiled Dragon Pavilion from the list of future potential allies, just because their leader lacked the bravery and ambition of one. Zhuo Fan smiled as he rolled up the sheepskin. I will now take it to young miss for signing. Wait, Long Zhu gripped his shoulder. Sign it here and now. Zhuo Fan smiled. I'm not the clan head. Signing it as a steward will make it void. With a sly smirk, Long Zhu looked at Zhuo Fan in the eye. Pavilion Lord said this agreement is not with the Luo clan, but with Zhuo Fan. Frowning, Zhuo Fan stared hard at Long Zhu. Wherever Zhuo Fan is, that place is Veiled Dragon Pavilion's ally. Longju spoke. This is Pavilion Lord's intent. Zhuo Fan frowned, then smiled with a nod. Pavilion Lord sure is ambitious, ha ha ha. In the dead of night, Zhuo Fan returned to the small courtyard and looked for Captain Pang. Old Pang, where's Missy? I'm looking for her. Sighing, Old Pang muttered, I'll take you to her. Zhuo Fan was taken aback but followed nonetheless. The two entered the kitchen and Zhuo Fan looked at Captain Pang in puzzlement when the latter pointed at Luo Yuncheng. Zhuo Fan saw the chaos inside the kitchen and Luo Yuncheng, who had fallen asleep next to the stove. Her face even had traces of soot. Sigh, young Miss kept asking the cook for guidance from morning till late into the night. Captain Pang sighed, blaming Zhuo Fan a little. Steward Zhuo, I know of your skill, and that young Miss and young Master do not enter your eyes. But you must know, young Miss worked hard day in day out for a whole month to cook for you so that you could have them when you come out of seclusion. But her efforts were not appreciated. Instead, she received your harsh criticization. Any girl would have been devastated after such a response. Ignoring Captain Pang's rant, Zhuo Fan walked next to the stove where the few dishes Luo Yuncheng made laid. Compared to those at noon, these dishes were almost burned. Zhuo Fan took a bite and shook his head. She has no talent whatsoever. Sigh, even so, at least show some consideration for her work. Captain Pang rebuked as he walked next to the dishes and tried one. How hard can it be to swallow? He also took a bite and chewed it just once before spitting it right back out. You're right, Steward Zhuo. Young Miss is inept at cooking. Sorry for blaming you. Captain Pang wiped his mouth and walked out with a red face. But when he turned back, he saw Zhuo Fan taking one bite after another and even savoring it. Steward Zhuo, don't force yourself. Ignore what I said. Now that I've also tried young Miss cooking, it's indeed. Captain Pang's mouth clamped shut and his face twisted. I'm just a bit hungry. Zhuo Fan smiled as he ate everything. In the morning, a ray of sunshine entered the small courtyard's kitchen. Luo Yuncheng's eyelids trembled as she opened her drowsy eyes. She looked around the kitchen and smiled dejectedly. Last night she was so tired after cooking that she fell asleep in the kitchen itself. Even if anyone caught wind of this, no one would believe it. A chi condensation cultivator tiring herself out from cooking. But the truth was she was too fatigued that she would rather pick cultivation instead of cooking. Just as she was getting up, she froze. Someone had put a plain cover on her, and her back wasn't leaning on the hard stove but on something soft instead. Pursing her lips, she turned her head only to see a sleeping Zhuo Fan leaning on her, and what kept her back soft was his arm. Ah, Luo Yuncheng was about to yelp, but she covered her mouth. It never crossed her mind that Zhuo Fan would spend the night with her here. Blushing, Luo Yuncheng observed his face and wanted to take advantage of this opportunity. Young Miss' red lips were inching ever closer to his face. Steward Zhuo, young Miss, a sudden rough shout came from Captain Pang. Zhuo Fan's eyelids trembled and were about to open. Luo Yuncheng immediately laid her head back on his shoulder and faked sleeping without budging. Just that her red face betrayed her as if she'd done something she shouldn't. Zhuo Fan opened his eyes, took a deep breath, and frowned when he saw Captain Pang coming in. Old Pang, what's the rush? Brother Zhuo, young Miss, Captain Pang pointed at Luo Yuncheng with shock. Zhuo Fan turned to see Luo Yuncheng's red and shivering face. He touched her forehead. It's burning up. Did she catch a cold? Shaking his head, Zhuo Fan blamed himself. Last night he wanted to take Luo Yuncheng back to her room, but afraid of waking her up, he chose to watch over her in the kitchen. He didn't think sleep would cast its spell on him too. Old Pang, say what you came to say. Meanwhile, I'll take this Missy back to her room. Zhuo Fan carried Luo Yuncheng, but Old Pang was panicking. You can't, Brother Zhuo. Someone wants to invite young Miss for a chat. Someone we can't offend. What can't offend? She won't be going even if the Veiled Dragon Pavilion asked. Zhuo Fan snapped. Can't you see she has lost consciousness? She must be sick. Wait for a bit and I'll go see the guest. Sigh, Brother Zhuo, Steward Zhuo. Young Miss must go meet him in person. He bears the Imperial Golden Seal, Captain Pang shouted. Zhuo Fan stopped. Only the Imperial family's guards had the seal. Even the 7 houses' leaders would have to respond at once or they'd have committed a grave crime. The lightest punishment was death, while the harshest was dragging one's whole clan with him. Of course, with the 7 noble houses' power, the Imperial family would refrain from resorting to such methods. But that didn't apply to a fallen clan like them. Zhuo Fan squinted and thought it through. Old Pang, tell him young Miss is unwell and that he should come back tomorrow. What? Captain Pang's heart jumped in fright. That person carries the Emperor's edict. If you do this, it is the same as saying you don't want to talk to him. But Zhuo Fan had it thought out. Thinking back to last night, he guessed the one calling him over was that fatty's guard. The fatty was a good man and wouldn't let emotions cloud his judgment, slaughtering innocents left and right. Do what I said now, Zhuo Fan raised his voice. Wait, Luo Yuncheng yelled, struggling out of Zhuo Fan's embrace and spoke with a stern face. Captain Pang, tell him to wait a moment to make myself presentable. Understood, Captain Pang bowed and secretly rejoiced. Thank God young Miss woke up, or who knew how much trouble Brother Zhu's arrangement would have stirred up. But this steward Zhu sure is dauntless. If I were to follow his words, I'll die of fright. Captain Pang shook his head and left. Zhu Fan watched Luo Yuncheng skeptically. How did she regain consciousness all of a sudden? Luo Yuncheng rolled her eyes. Why are you so reckless? Is the imperial family someone you can offend? To avoid him noticing anything, Luo Yuncheng rushed away. Zhu Fan was left to walk alone to the living room with doubt in his heart. He met with the man carrying the seal, a peak chi condensation cultivator. He was one of the porters to Fatty's palanquin. Are you Steward Zhuo? My master is inviting you and young Miss Luo for a talk. The envoy cupped his hands, but the prideful attitude never left him, and either on purpose or otherwise, the imperial golden seal flashed on his waist. Perhaps he was afraid they'd mistake him for someone other than the imperial family's guard. Zhuo Fan snorted. You're still soft thinking you can fake your arrogance around me. When I was faking it, you were still but an egg in your mother's belly. Zhu Fan didn't even look at him as he slumped in a chair, one leg over the other. The envoy's eyes swelled with rage. Is the fatty's injury healed? Zhu Fan asked in passing. Fatty? The man was stunned. Then it hit him that Zhu Fan was calling his master fatty, but the number of people in this world who dared to call him that was less than 10. Then he and Master R. His heart started beating a mile a minute and the arrogance was gone from his eyes. My master did not mention any injury when he returned last night. Is that so? Zhu Fan raised an eyebrow, then laughed. He must be thinking of his image. I punched him 30-odd times yesterday and kicked him a dozen times more. There's no way he's fine. Don't you think so too? That fatty must be faking it so you guys won't laugh at him, ha ha ha. Zhu Fan quirked his eyebrows at the man. The envoy's lips twitched, unable to respond, but he was embarrassed nonetheless. Right, was that old goat Fang Qiubai still angry after he arrived? Zhu Fan looked at him carefully this time, but the envoy just shook his head. Fang Qiubai returned with his master yesterday, and only then did they find out about Fang Qiubai's arrival. Since Zhu Fan knew this before them, it spoke how close he was with his master. At this point, the envoy stashed the seal in his pants. It worked well in scaring some, but it was best to not make a fool of himself in front of such a young master like Zhu Fan. Great, seeing the envoy shaking his head, Zhu Fan rejoiced. Perhaps you don't know, but that old goat wanted to take me as a disciple. If not for my staunch heart and me choosing death over kneeling, the old goat would have taken me away by now. I still thought he was angry and was going to come nag me again. Now that I know he isn't, I can rest easy. That old goat understands my predicament. What, Fang Qiubai wanted to take you as a disciple? The man shouted as his legs went soft and collapsed. Heavens, who the hell is this young master? He is a friend that beat up master and also someone wanted as a disciple by Jade Flute Divine Sword Fang Qiubai, who the emperor shows respect to. Zhu Fan secretly sneered. What's wrong? Why fall over? Let me help you. Zhu Fan said so but showed no intention of moving. The envoy was sharp enough to get back on his feet while waving his hand. No need, Steward Zhu. I don't dare ask you of such a favor. I am not worthy. Humph, a servant's instinct. Zhu Fan disdained. You call helping you get up a favor? Might you be the emperor's envoy? Luo Yuncheng, dressed to impress, walked before him and bowed. The envoy rushed to kowtow. You are making it hard on me. Please don't be so courteous. If master heard I was disrespectful to his friends, he will punish me. Luo Yuncheng was at a loss and turned to Zhu Fan, who just shrugged. But Captain Pang, who was behind her, was stunned silly at the sight of the envoy's courteous attitude. Where's your previous haughty attitude? Spouting something like, if young miss didn't come to see you in 15 minutes, you'd be executing all of us. Why the sudden change of tones? But even this change was too outrageous and polite. Captain Pang eyed Zhu Fan, who only sported a puzzling smile. Old Pang figured Steward Zhu had something to do with it and gave him a thumbs up. Only Steward Zhu can make an imperial family's guard kowtow to our young miss. Zhu Fan dismissed the envoy's courtesy. Why is that fatty calling me? I do not know. I was only ordered to invite Wingay City's Kai clan, Lei clan, and Luo clan. The envoy spoke with extreme politeness. Zhu Fan squinted. It seems that the Hell Valley targeting the 3 clans must have something to do with the imperial family. In a peaceful location within the forest, a kilometer from Wingay City, stood a remote courtyard. The 4 guards posted at the door were bone-tempering experts. Zhu Fan and Luo Yuncheng came along with Luo Yunhai and Captain Pang with the envoy as their guide. Steward Zhu, young Miss Luo, please enter. The man was very polite. He opened the door, stood to the side, and bowed for them to pass. The other guards frowned with doubt and a flicker of scorn in their eyes. They were imperial family's guards, always welcomed with bows and courtesy everywhere. But this guy went to invite some no-name clan heads and even bowed down before them. He was seen as a disgrace by his fellow guards. The man picked up on scorn, but he just smirked. How can idiots know the importance these people hold? Steward Zhu is master's friend, who even senior Fang Qiubai has his eyes on. He needs to say just one word and he'd be Fang Qiubai's disciple. Even the emperor will have to show respect then. As for the other three, they're Steward Zhu's friends. We can't show any disrespect even to them. Secretly snorting, the envoy still showed a flattering smile as he guided them inside. They soon arrived at a garden, a single pavilion laid in the middle with a stone table inside. Fatty sat in the seat of honor, and behind him stood Jade Flute Divine Sword Fang Qiubai. On one side of the fatty was Lei Yunshin, with Lei Yuding and Zio Qi behind him. On the other, it was Kai Rong and his son, Kai Zioding. There were 2 additional empty stools around the table for Zhuo Fan and Luo Yuncheng. This must be a meeting of the 3 clan heads. Zhuo Fan rubbed his nose and took a step back, letting Luo Yunhai take the lead. Bro Zhuo, Luo Yunhai didn't understand, while Zhuo Fan smiled. Show them the dignity of a clan head and don't let them look down on you. Luo Yunhai understood as Luo Yuncheng showed a grateful look. It was clear this meeting was between the 3 clan heads and the imperial family. But after the events over the past few months, all of Wingay City knew that Luo clan's true clan head was Zhuo Fan. Even the imperial family might be considering Zhuo Fan as the master of the Luo clan. Zhuo Fan did this now so that he did not exceed his authority and was letting Luo clan come into the light. He wanted to state the fact Luo clan's clan head was still named Luo. Please come in. The envoy saw the 3rd prince and bowed 90 degrees towards Zhuo Fan in a show of respect he had for his master's friend. But this had a different effect on everyone. The fatty was stunned, since when were the imperial family's guards so humble? Kai clan and Lei clan were of the same opinion. When this guard came to invite them, he was brazen, cocky, and flaunting, not caring in the least who he was talking to. But towards the Luo clan, he treated them like guests. The 2 clans felt apprehensive in their hearts. They were even more envious. They were all clans of Wingay City, yet the treatment was worlds apart. Only Fang Qiubai smiled, guessing Zhuo Fan might have twisted facts to scare the envoy. But this only worked to admire him more. Under the envoy's polite call, the Luo clan stepped into the pavilion. Luo Yuncheng greeted the fatty. I am Luo Yuncheng, greetings, your highness. On the way here, the envoy told them of his master. The others followed Luo Yuncheng in showing respect, but Zhuo Fan just shrugged. The fatty only waved, not taking Zhuo Fan's disrespect seriously. Please sit. Luo Yuncheng and her brother took a seat, while Zhuo Fan and Captain Pang stood behind them. Fatty threw a long look towards Zhuo Fan, secretly nodding. Great authority, but without any arrogance. He is a loyal subject. Fang Qiubai smiled with praise in his eyes. Zhuo Fan's conduct was etched in the 2's hearts. Wielding his martial prowess to protect his master, and courteous enough to defend his master's honor. In the eyes of the imperial family, he was a rare and valuable official. The fatty began, I have invited the 3 clan heads today per the imperial edict to reveal to you the 1,000-years-old relationship between the 3 clans. Everyone was focused on Fatty's next words. The 3 clan heads must have each received an instruction from the previous clan head to not make an enemy out of each other, and perhaps even mentioned about helping one another. Fatty stood up. Moreover, the 3 clans' power must never leave Wingay City until the pearls shine. Kai Rong and Lei Yunshin watched the fatty in puzzlement. Luo Yuncheng got a nod from her brother and also looked puzzled. Ha ha ha, in fact, this is an agreement between the founding imperial family 1,000 years ago and the 3 clan heads of that time, known as Secret Pearl Order. Fatty smiled and his eyes flashed. Kai clan, Luo clan, Lei clan, and the 7 noble houses are the same. They are all loyal officials, founders of the empire. What, like a bomb was thrown on them, the 3 clans' representatives were shell-shocked. They never thought that their origins were the same as the 7 houses, but why had they fallen so low that they could only stay in Wingay City as mortal clans? The fatty turned a bit bashful, guessing their thoughts. Sorry, this is what our human clan owes you. Sighing, Fatty continued, at that time Tianyu Empire was just established and was shaky with unrest among its people. The great ancestor and founder sent his 7 ministers across the kingdom to employ autonomous administration and settle the land. This gave them enough power to make them equal to the imperial family. They later became the 7 noble houses. In just 20 years, the 7 houses grew exponentially, and their greed ignited a war among them. The imperial family could no longer keep them in check and had to employ schemes in weakening them. The 7 houses were ultimately aware that there will be no winners in their war and ceased fire. But the aftermath was cruel. The people were suffering, the empire was mourning, and it was just one step away from collapsing. But how is this connected to us? Zhuo Fan frowned. Taking a deep breath, Fatty straightened his back. Everyone, to be honest, your clans are founders of our empire. If your elders were still sitting in the imperial court, they would be no less famous than the Four Pillars. Everyone sucked in a cold breath. Four Pillars were the support of the Tianyu Empire, leading the military, economy, politics, external affairs. They were the only ones capable of resisting the Seven Houses. There was a rumor the Four Pillars' power was so strong it struck fear in the imperial family. Imperial family, Four Pillars, and the Seven Noble Houses represented the empire's highest power, but also restricting each other in a delicate balance. If one side tips, the balance would crumble and the empire would fall. No one could believe that their ancestors were so amazing and capable of becoming the empire's Four Pillars of today. The fatty lost his smile at this point. The great ancestor at the time set up the secret Pearl Order with your ancestors to prevent another war from breaking out among the Seven Houses. The emperor used all kinds of excuses to demote your ancestors to Wingay's city and become common clans. But the imperial family could, at any time, combine the three clans into a great clan equal to the rank of the Seven Houses. This would occur only when war broke out again between the Seven Houses. Then this new clan would add balance to the equation to save as many lives as possible. But even if an eighth house were to appear, it cannot stop the Seven Houses. Luo Yuncheng voiced her doubts. Zhuo Fan cut Fatty off with a smile before he could speak. Young miss, the eighth house's purpose isn't to stop them, but to add balance. A war breaks out only when one side has absolute confidence in winning it. But a war in which winning was possible at a heavy cost won't happen unless the two sides hated each other to the bone. Sometimes, when two powers starts a conflict, it is very easily solved since no one wants to suffer irreparable damages. Luo Yuncheng nodded, and the fatty praised Zhuo Fan. Steward Zhu is amazing. Luo clan will rise for sure in your capable hands. Kai Rong's lips twitched from the regret he felt. If he hadn't offended Zhuo Fan, he might have been able to rope him. This kid was a genius seen once in 1,000 years. Third Prince, we know of the relationship between the three clans. What I want to know is, how are you going to secure our rise to the 8th seat? Zhuo Fan stared at the fatty. Raising his brow, the fatty nodded in admiration. That's Steward Zhu for you, hitting the nail on the head. Of course, the imperial family's power is enough to make a clan rise in a short time. The hard part, though, is how to keep it hidden. Zhu Fan smiled. You think the Seven Houses would just watch us rise up to their level? Kai Rong and Lei Yunshen's backs went cold with sweat. They were elated that their ancestors had been imperial court officials. They were thinking, my clan will receive the imperial family's support to rise above a common clan. But Zhu Fan brought them down to earth. Not to mention growing stronger, the Seven Houses wouldn't even let the new clan grow to their level. They would be destroyed while they were at their weakest. Kai Rong and Lei Yunshen were grateful for Zhu Fan's reminder. The imperial family wanted the Seven Houses' power in balance, but the three of them wanted to survive. Kai Rong had to admire Zhu Fan's prudent mind. After muttering under his breath for a while, the fatty spoke. This was settled at the moment the secret order was given. What is a clan's foundation? Spirit stones, pills? No, these are support items. Strength is the best guarantee of a powerful clan. Veiled Dragon Pavilion has its 9 outstanding elders. Hell Valley has its 12 elders as overseers. Each of the 7 houses has its own strength. Also, every one of them has invited a venerable. Along with other secret weapons they're holding, even we, the imperial family, don't dare stir them. Fatty's eyes then shined like a radiant sun. At the time, in order to paralyze the 7 houses, great ancestor confiscated the wealth of your clans. This is why none of you has any decent cultivation method and martial arts. It was also because of this reason the 7 houses withdrew their surveillance on you 500 years ago. Yet none of them would have thought that you all are still holding a low, profound ranked martial art. Fatty showed a sneaky smile. With this martial art, all of you can become strong. Even the 7 houses only have 1 or 2 profound ranked martial arts. The 3 clans were amazed. When did they have such a martial art? If they had it, they'd have used it to grow strong by now. Only Zhu Fan's eyes rolled about, recalling something. With a vague smile, Fatty's hand flashed and revealed a green jade slip. This is a low mortal ranked martial art combining art. By itself, it holds no value, but if you use it along with your clan's spirit ranked martial arts you inherited, you can combine them into a single martial art of the profound rank. In other words, Luo clan's returning Dragon Palm, Kai clan's Wind Kick, and Lei clan's Lightning Finger were originally one single martial art that the imperial family split among the 3 clans. And only the imperial family knew the way to restore it. Zhu Fan squinted. Fatty was shocked but then nodded. Steward Zhu is wise. There aren't many martial arts which are capable of splitting other martial arts, and the number of martial arts that can restore them are even lesser. I didn't think Steward Zhu would know of this. If Imperial Father hadn't mentioned it, I would have never found out. Zhu Fan just smiled. Perhaps because the splitting martial arts were uncommon even at the mortal rank, each sect in the sacred domain seized them. They split their core martial arts to prevent degenerate disciples from spreading it. Only the sect leader's disciple had the right to learn the entire set of martial arts. Zhuo Fan turned to look at Kai clan and Lei clan. They were startled, but their eyes showed deep regret. Perhaps because they were negligent in safeguarding their inherited martial arts and let the Hell Valley steal them, especially with regards to Kai clan, who were quick to give it away. It must be really eating Kai wrong inside right now. Clan heads, please take out your inherited martial arts. Fatty placed the jade slip on the table with a smile, but only Luo Yuncheng took out her clan's martial art. After Lei Yuding got to know of Yang Ming's treachery, she gave back the returning dragon palm to Luo Yuncheng, but the other clan heads looked at each other in shame. Fatty frowned as he stared at them. Sighing, Lei Yuncheng cupped his hands. Your Highness, I was unable to protect my ancestors' martial art from Hell Valley's thieving hands. I accept your Highness' punishment. What? Fatty slapped the table. Kai Rong also cupped his hands. Your Highness, I am the same. Fatty's body shivered in rage. Why you? Just how are you both clan heads? Have you forgotten your ancestors' instructions? You should have defended it with your lives. The two kneeled. Please forgive us, Your Highness. Fatty sighed as he scratched his head. Kai Rong peeked at him. Your Highness, can't the imperial family bestow us another profound ranked martial art? Bestow your mom. Fatty couldn't hold it in and began raining curses and spitting all over Kai Rong's kneeling figure. What do you take profound ranked martial arts for, cabbage? Even the imperial family has only 4 of them, and they're each registered. If I take one out, everyone will know. How are your clans gonna rise then? You dumb pig, are you tired of living? Fatty gave Kai Rong a round of slapping, then stomped his feet. Kai Rong curled up and shivered on the ground. What now, what now? The secret pearl order is ruined. Fatty paced around. Zhuo Fan smirked and 2 jade slips appeared with a flash in his hand. Third prince, there's no need to worry. I have their clan's martial arts. What? The 2 clan heads shouted in unison, staring dumbfounded in Zhuo Fan's direction. Kai Rong in particular, having not witnessed Zhuo Fan's prowess, was incredulous at what was happening. Lei Yunchen gave Zhuo Fan a thankful nod. If not for him, not only Lei clan wouldn't recover, they'd even be executed in a fit of anger by third prince. Ha ha ha, Steward Zhu, you truly are amazing. I see why Elder Zhu of Veiled Dragon Pavilion speaks so highly of you. Fatty was overjoyed and ran into Zhuo Fan for a bear hug. If not for you, I would have failed Imperial Father's task. I owe you one. Smiling, Zhuo Fan shook his head. This is all for the Luo clan. Yes, right, for the Luo clan and for me, ha ha ha. Fatty slapped Zhuo Fan's shoulder, then gathered the 4 jade slips. Now that we have the martial arts, next is the merger of the 3 clans. According to the great ancestors' secret pearl order, 2 clans are to merge with the strongest, and the profound ranked martial art will be in the clan head's care. As such, Your Highness, Kai Rong seemed hyped as he jumped to his feet. Luo clan has little strength and only 4 members, and Lei clan is on the verge of collapse. Only my Kai clan is flourishing. As such, I will begrudgingly accept this responsibility and support them under my clan's wing. As of now, I will take Lei and Luo clan as Kai clan's disciples and assist the imperial family in fulfilling the secret edict. As he finished speaking, Kai Rong reached for the jade slips, but a rough hand stopped him. Lei Yunchen glared at him as he asked, Kai Rong, how can a bone-tempering cultivator be enough to act as clan head? Humph, so what? Based on strength, my clan is the best. Kai Rong raised his brows. Don't be so sure. Lei Yunchen sneered at Kai Rong and looked at Lei Yunting. She showed a proud smile and stepped forward. Clan head Kai, in this last month, I gathered all the scattered Blackwind Mountains men. We have 600 men, half of them are in chi condensation. Based on strength alone, the Kai clan is weaker. Ha ha ha, so what if you're strong? You're just bandits. Kai Xiaoding laughed at her. Lei clan is but a rabble of thugs. If you take the role of clan head, we'll only be the 7 houses' laughingstock. Never will we be able to reach their level. Who are you calling a thug? You want a piece of me. You say you're not Thug Granny. In an instant, the Lei and Kai clans started fighting for the leader's position. Zhuo Fan was secretly sneering at the side. This new clan is just being established, and it was still a question if it could survive. Yet these bunch of idiots are plagued with delusions of grandeur that they could hold their own against the 7 houses. Fatty and Fang Qiubai mocked the quarreling clans with their eyes. Luo Yuncheng's face burned in anger. They were fighting against each other while ignoring the Luo clan. It clearly showed that they thought little of her clan. Although they were but 4 members, they were still one of the 3 clans in the edict. But these clans didn't even ask for their opinion. Bam! With that loud slap, the 2 clans stopped and turned to see the brat Luo Yunhai hitting the table. His face was stern and his eyes were steadfast, unlike his usual childish self. Even Zhuo Fan quirked an eyebrow. Why all this fuss? Luo Yunhai swept the people with his eyes and spoke with resolve. In this merger of clans, the only one worthy of the leader position is none other than my Luo clan. Luo Yunhai's declaration shocked them silly. Kai Xiaoding mocked, "What does a brat know? You're the weakest of us, nothing of worth at all. What gives you the right to lead us?" Sneering, Luo Yunhai grinned. Everyone there recognized his look, the spitting image of someone they all knew very well. This made them turn their eyes to Zhuo Fan. Hell, Zhuo Fan ruined him. Zhuo Fan was quite piqued by this brat. Luo clan has no men, money, or pills. It only has us 4 masters and servants. Luo Yunhai looked at them with sparkling eyes, but our clan is the strongest because we have steward Zhuo. Luo Yunhai turned to Zhuo Fan with worship in his gaze. If Luo clan was to have any right to become the head, it would all be thanks to Zhuo Fan. His skills were obvious to anyone there. Even Veiled Dragon Pavilion was certain that if Zhuo Fan stayed with Luo clan, its rise was but a matter of time. Under the hopeful and worried gazes, especially Luo Yunhai's expectant look, Zhuo Fan shook his head. This kid hardly ever shows such great expectations from me. I can't disappoint him now, can I? Humph, Zhuo Fan is a mere steward. How can a person of low status like him be worthy to hold on to all our Kai clan's guards and wealth? Punk, our clan shall be the head, don't. Kai Xiaoding mocked but didn't finish as Zhuo Fan slapped the table, revealing the alliance agreement. Under the puzzlement of others, Zhuo Fan sneered, "This is Luo clan and Veiled Dragon Pavilion's alliance contract." What? The fatty was so shocked his whole body trembled and was close to falling off his chair. Even the relaxed and uncaring Fang Qiubai behind him narrowed his eyes as he scanned the sheepskin with shock. Veiled Dragon Pavilion was one of the 7 noble houses. The only ones worthy of signing an alliance agreement with them were others from the 7 houses, while the rest only had the right to sign a subsidiary agreement. But now, with a deep look, Fang Qiubai sighed as he asked Zhuo Fan, "Kid, how did you do it?" Recognized and valued as a hero, he nodded towards Fang Qiubai, then turned to the 2 clans and spoke in a cold tone. "Let me tell you, even if this crappy secret pearl order never existed, as long as I'm here, Luo clan will ultimately rise to the ranks of the 7 houses. You're of no help to us. On the contrary, you are a burden," Zhuo Fan sneered. The 2 other clans lost their voices in shock. With rosy cheeks, Luo Yuncheng raised her chin proudly. Luo Yunhai was grinning from excitement, watching Zhuo Fan with veneration. Mulling over, the fatty traced his hand on the alliance agreement. He found Zhuo Fan's strength exceeding his expectations, as it was not a simple matter to gain such an alliance agreement. Even if Long Ju was in favor of him, an elder didn't hold much sway in the Veiled Dragon Pavilion. Fatty sighed, "Steward Zhuo, I am saddened by seeing you live in such a poor clan. Why don't you come help me?" Just think about it. To the shock of everyone present, the 3rd prince expressed his intention in recruiting Zhuo Fan. It amazed them that Zhuo Fan was so highly sought after that even the imperial family was willing to have him. Luo Yuncheng stood up nervously, thinking Zhuo Fan would be snatched away. Zhuo Fan smiled and shook his head. "3rd prince, you're overestimating me. Even in the Luo clan, am I not doing my best for the imperial family?" Fatty quirked an eyebrow and smiled, "All right. I'll leave it at that." He then turned to the rest. "It's decided. The Luo clan will be the leader of the 3 clans merger. Kai and Lei clans are to assist the Luo clan in fulfilling the secret pearl order. Your Highness." Kai Xiaoding was disgruntled and wanted to voice his objection, but Kai Rong gripped his arm. He didn't understand the reason, but Fatty's pin-sized eyes left him shivering from the killing intent. Secret Pearl Order was a millennium-old secret plan, and it held great importance to the imperial family. It was understandable that they would only choose the best clan for the position of leader. If the 3 clans were equal, the imperial family would have taken his objection into consideration. But Zhuo Fan took out the alliance agreement, making all dissent moot. It turned the Luo clan into the best choice in implementing the secret edict for the imperial family. If even with this the other clans voiced their discontent, the imperial family would deal them with a heavy hand. Just as Zhuo Fan said, the Luo clan had all the power it needed to bring the secret edict to fruition. This in turn made the other 2 clans their vassals. If they felt that being a vassal was unpleasant, the imperial family would finish them off with a mere swipe. Kai Xiaoding let the matter drop, yet the discontent never left his face. He could only follow Kai Rong's actions in submitting. Fatty nodded, then turned to Lei Yunchen to see if he had objections. The old man said, "Your Highness, be at ease. I will give my all in assisting Yunhai and Yuncheng. As Cloud Manor fell because of me, I will become a servant to atone for my crimes." Fatty nodded at his sincerity. "Good, since there are no objections, the 3 clans shall unite." "Understood." Everyone bowed. "We shall now withdraw. Steward Zhu, stay for a while." Zhuo Fan was unclear as to the reason why, but remained nonetheless under the departing and curious gazes of the rest. The fatty let out a breath, then rushed to Zhuo Fan and dragged him to an empty place in the garden. Third prince, Zhuo Fan frowned. Fatty waved, just follow my lead. Fatty then pointed 2 fingers at the sky as he shouted, I Tianyu Empire's third prince Yuan Kong vow to heaven to become sworn brother with Luo clan's steward Zhuo Fan. To share life and death together and never betray him. Your turn, Fatty watched Zhuo Fan impatiently. Zhuo Fan was confused, but becoming sworn brothers with third prince had to be a good thing, so he went along. I Luo clan steward Zhuo Fan vow to heaven to become sworn brother with Tianyu Empire's third prince Yuan Kong. If he doesn't betray me, I won't either, Fatty muttered when he heard the last part. Brother, you sure are meticulous. Fatty, it's not that I don't trust you, but the pugilistic world is too vicious. Zhuo Fan shrugged, not having any restraint in calling him Fatty. Since no one was here, the Fatty himself wouldn't blow a gasket over this. Plus, this kid needs me to complete the secret edict. Zhuo Fan was perfectly clear when to be fierce and when to be scared. Just as he foresaw, the Fatty nodded instead of getting angry. Call me how you like it. I feel much better since we are sworn brothers now. Zhuo Fan looked at him in puzzlement. Fatty sighed, do you remember our bet from yesterday? The winner gets to have Sister Kiwi. I lost the bet, but I still can't let it go, so I decided to become sworn brothers with you. This way I won't go after my brother's wife, and it would help me forget about Sister Kiwi too. Zhuo Fan rose an eyebrow, incredulous that the Fatty wanted to become sworn brothers over this. Fatty, there's nothing between me and that girl. She was just making excuses. What, is that true? Fatty even jumped 10 meters in joy. Then can I still chase her? Nodding, Zhuo Fan showed a vague smile. Go, annoy the little lass to death. Awesome, brother. You are indeed my sworn brother, ha ha ha. Fatty was skipping and whooping in joy. Now that the bet was off, he could chase Long Kiwi to his heart's content. Zhuo Fan smiled. Fatty, what does the secret pearl order truly say? The Fatty dropped his smile, watching Zhuo Fan with embarrassment. Brother, didn't I say it already? This plan is very delicate and even the goal is fair, but, Zhuo Fan squinted, it lacks ambition. So much so that an emperor of a founding empire would never come up with it. The great ancestor showed great ambition when he established the empire. Zhuo Fan wasn't gullible enough to believe the secret Millennium Order was limited to restricting the 7 houses and maintaining a balance of power. Fatty shook his head. I do not know either. This was what I've been told. Zhuo Fan stared him down but discovered nothing else. Maybe he knew nothing, or maybe his acting was top-notch. Then how did Hell Valley catch wind of this 1,000-year-old secret edict? Zhuo Fan smiled. All of Hell Valley's actions were against the secret edict while looking innocent doing it. They were afraid of the imperial family's investigation. Fatty frowned. Reason points to the contrary, but there are many spies in the imperial capital. The information about secret edict might have leaked. It remained hidden for 1,000 years and only now it gets leaked. Zhuo Fan frowned. Maybe leaking it is part of the secret edict's contents. The Fatty shivered and went wide-eyed. Zhuo Fan smirked. It's clear now. Never mind, it works in Luo clan's benefit anyway, so there's no need to poke my nose in it. There's no need to worry over nothing, ha ha ha. Zhuo Fan waved as he left. Fatty, I'll be going. We'll meet again if we get the chance. A voice rang in Fatty's ear as Zhuo Fan's figure distanced. This kid is perhaps too sharp, scary even. Whoosh, it was Fang Qiubai in his blue robe. Fang Qiubai muttered, the more I watch him, the more he resembles someone. Who? Fatty asked. Fang Qiubai's eyes flashed. Zhu Chengfeng, the leader of 4 pillars, Prime Minister Zhu Chengfeng. Fatty was in shock. Are you saying Zhuo Fan? Nodding, Fang Qiubai smiled. Congur, becoming sworn brothers with him was the best decision you made in your life. One day he will become one of your 4 pillars, helping you rule. The Fatty was stunned, watching Zhuo Fan getting further away as ambition flickered in his eyes. Zhuo Fan returned to the small courtyard and saw the others waiting outside. What's wrong? Did Third Prince say something? Luo Yuncheng was worried. He refused Veiled Dragon Pavilion's invitation, but this was the imperial family. With just a nod, he could become an official with the support of the imperial family. Secretly smiling, Zhuo Fan said, Fatty told me to do my best in fulfilling the secret edict. Luo Yuncheng covered Zhuo Fan's mouth, then looked around before saying, how can you call Third Prince like that? Be careful or he might take your life. He won't, he still needs me. Zhuo Fan dismissed her worry and even gave a thumbs up to Luo Yunhai. Your performance was perfect, worthy of a clan head. You made me proud, please, didn't I learn it all from bro? Luo Yunhai stuck up his chin. It was clear the bro he referred to was Zhuo Fan. Everyone laughed and Luo Yuncheng showed a relieved smile. Dad, can you see? Yunhai has grown up. He can shoulder the honor and glory of the Luo clan. Luo Yuncheng looked at the sky with sparkling eyes. On the second day after the meeting, the new clan was established with Luo clan at the helm. The name was, of course, Luo clan. Zhuo Fan, with the imperial family's support, had no trouble becoming the head steward of the clan, handling all affairs. He appointed Lei Yunxian as Luo clan's Grand Elder and Kai Rong as the Second Elder while keeping Old Pang as the captain of the guards, leading the Kai clan's guards. Lei Yuding was made the leader of the Shadow Corps, taking Blackwind Mountain's bandits under her and in charge of intelligence gathering and training assassins. Because of the imperial family's decree, the Veiled Dragon Pavilion and Hell Valley were banned from entering the Windgaze city. The rest of the 7 houses remained within their borders, thus making this city belong to the Luo clan alone. As for the Luo clan's estate, Kai clan suggested for it to be the former Kai Manor, but Zhuo Fan had other plans. Blackwind Mountain, the place where a natural array took form, and so another Devil Mountain was established, and Zhuo Fan's plans advanced one step at a time.